Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on this Tuesday afternoon. Darian Newsom producing for us. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours and plenty to get to today. Media days galore out there. ACC, AAC, Big Ten, Sun Belt even in action today when it comes to media day. So we'll talk a whole lot of college football today. Memphis was picked to finish first in the American earlier today. So we got to talk about that. Tim Buckley, he's down there in Dallas for AAC Media Day, so he'll join us in about 30 minutes to talk Tigers. We'll also talk about some of those other media days going on. Some NFL, a lot to get to. Training camp is getting rolling for a lot of NFL teams. So a lot of football talk over these next 3 hours. Definitely got to talk a little baseball as well. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well. We'll get in some summer league last night. The Grizzlies came up just painfully a little shy, and we'll talk about the all summer league team that a couple of Grizzlies made that. But everybody's talking now. The talking season, everybody's. It's one of my favorite wrestling skits is when they have the two rings set up and everybody ends up in the ring.
That's right.
Everybody's doing that now in talking season. A lot of conversation. And in Indianapolis, and I'm sorry, I don't know the river. I've never been to Indianapolis. I've never been to the state of Indiana. I don't know the river. They floated the big old duck down today for Oregon.
Oh, that would be the White River in downtown Indy. So,
we got a white river in Arkansas. What if it flows into India?
Wow, maybe
there's a lot of white rivers out there.
I'm sure there is. But yes, that was one of the things I woke up to this morning, and I was like, am I dreaming? Or is
big
that
old duck coming at you?
Duck on a river. So that was fun this morning to welcome Oregon to the Big 12, make their presence clearly known at Big Ten Media Days. So that was fun. I watched a lot of American Media Days this morning. Obviously, Ryan Silverfield talking earlier today. John Summerall also talked. Wanted to hear what he had to say. So definitely a fun day of Media Days already.
It was, and to no one's surprise, the Tigers were overwhelming favorite, not unanimous, but very close to it, to win the AAC. And around college football, as I talked about last week, the conversation about the Tigers. And today, watching an ESPN hit on the ACC Media Days, and they're talking about Florida State's schedule, and Tom Luganbill, without provocation, says, look how tough. They're talking about the ACC non-conference schedule. Sure. Tom Luganbill mentioned week 3 for FSU, because they start on week 0, that they will play, or is that week 4? Anyway, they play the Memphis Tigers, and he said, be on upset alert. The Memphis Tigers are going at minimum 11-1 this year.
Wow. It's crazy. I mean, the hype is starting to build, and obviously here the hype's been there, and we've obviously talked about this team for a while, really ever since they put a bow on last year's season with that big win over Iowa State in the Liberty Bowl, and then you start hearing all these guys are going to return, and it felt like absolutely with what they did in the portal, and it felt like they were doing something, even recruiting with I know a lot of hype for next year's class, but even the class to bring in this year is really good. And it just felt like every step, just that hype started to build and build and build and build. And now that we're all the way to media days, it feels like we're getting to that high for the start of the season, and it's exciting to see.
And I love the Ryan Silverfield quote in reaction to it. It's meaningless.
Yeah, no, that's.
But it's really good.
You love to have it.
I think in a nice way, he said,
sure.
Larry Finch used to call talk radio people disc jockeys. So I think in a nice way, he was saying, let the disc jockeys talk about it. I'm going to coach football.
Definitely.
I love it.
No, I love it. I love it as well. And it seems like, I have talked several times about kind of the first time you heard this group talk in its current form was back at the spring game. And our buddy Greg Gaston was on the field, and every couple of drives he would bring, they would send him a player, and they'd put it on the Jumbotron, and I think it was also going out on their radio broadcast of the spring game and interviewing these guys, and every single one of them, it was a question of, look, high expectations this year. There's going to be pressure, and all of them said, we know, and we're ready for it, and we expect it. We expect to win a lot of games. We expect to be extremely competitive, and so this team, even even though we just saw the American preseason poll today, this team knows that there's expectations on them. They've heard it. They know it's out there, and I think they are ready for it. And when you can have, and hearing Ryan Silverfield earlier today talk about it, it was before he went to the podium when he was at the desk with the AAC television crew, and he said we've got a 4-year starter that at quarterback that came on as a freshman at 17 years old and knows this system like the back of his hand. And so I think when you look out around college football and you see a program that has a young guy that has been a starter for 4 years and has been in the same program all 4 years, I think you got to feel really good about that team, and then you just add on the weapons around him and that defense and what they could look like this year. There should be a lot of excitement.
Yeah, I got out there a little too early on the Tigers 2 years ago when they had to rally to finish 7-6 and had the bowl win over Utah State. And I was talking 9, maybe 10 that year. Last year it was pretty much a consensus. I don't remember many going under 9. Brian, I don't know anybody that's going to go under 10.
No.
This year.
Yeah, 10 seems like it feels like the lowest. That feels like the baseline. I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there somewhere that's just trying to be the go against the grain and say, they're going to win 7 games, 8 games, and all this hype is nothing. But no, I think this team is 10, 11 win team, and I think it's going to be fairly easy.
I would go 13-0 and the upset at FSU and the win over someone in the AAC championship game before I would go 8.
Wow. I definitely think this team's closer to that than they are to 8 wins.
And all those close games in the year I missed on one at 7, all those the heartbreaking losses, and kind of started getting loud around for Coach Silverfield. Yeah. Then last year, mostly cashed it in, had a couple heartbreaks. That goes with it. I think the home loss to Tulane was probably the most aggravating. Had a 10-point lead in that one. But weren't they down 10, up 10, and then lose by 10? Was that right? Something like that.
Something like that.
And on a Friday night. But all of that is a stair step. It's all evolutionary. It's all part of the Nick Saban verbiage, part of the process.
Right.
Everything of the last 2 football seasons for Seth Hennigan and Ryan Silverfield, it's led to this.
Yeah. No.
And it's led to what I think will be overwhelming September, October, November, and maybe even December success.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But here's how the rest of the AAC preseason poll played out. So Tigers up top, number 1. Right behind them, UTSA, who also received votes for first place. Tulane at 3rd. They also received first place votes. For South Florida, they did not receive any first place votes, which I thought was interesting. Army comes in at 5. I believe they received a few votes for first. And then after that, 6, Florida Atlantic. We have a 2-way tie for 7th place with East Carolina and Rice. 9th is North Texas, 10 UAB, 11 Navy, 12 Tulsa, 13 Charlotte, and 14 Temple. I'm a little surprised Tulane came in at 3rd behind UTSA.
I am too. I would have voted if somebody said you can't vote Memphis 1. I think I would have voted South Florida 1.
Yeah.
I would not have voted Texas San Antonio. I would have voted Tulane ahead of them. The top 4, that's pretty much cemented, I think, around college football commentary. And the bottom 4 feels like that. Hash it out over 5 through 10, however you see fit. And I don't think the vote for Army is anywhere close to as ridiculous as the 2 dunderheads that voted for Vanderbilt to win the SEC last week.
No.
And I love Academy football, but Army ain't winning this league. And if it's in a position to, how does that? How does the Navy game how are we counting that?
Well,
that's not a conference game, is it?
It is not, and they even put that on the screen today at one point, and they didn't elaborate on it, but it was just kind of on the side where they were running through different things, and it said Army versus Navy is not a conference game, they could meet in the conference championship game. Now, they're not going to. I can confidently say that right now. But I don't know how in the world that would play out if they did meet up in the conference championship game. I guess you would cancel the next. I don't even know what you would do. You play 2 weeks in a row. I have no idea what they would do.
And yesterday with Jonah Dillon, he made the great point. I'm sorry that I haven't caught up with it all year and thought about it, but the helmet communication on defense. And Ryan Day just had a quote at Big Ten Media Days. He said helmet communication could be more huddling and fewer plays this season in college football.
Interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. I haven't kept up much with Big Ten Media Days today. I kind of forget they're happening.
I have and tried to keep up. I've tried to keep up with it all, but it's been difficult. It's coming in a torrent today at Big Ten Media Days today was Illinois, and I do like Brett Bielema, even though he has me blocked on Twitter.
Well, I don't know if we need to rehash that one. I mean,
I didn't do anything.
Well,
I think one time I did call him because of his size, 2 tons of fun, but that you don't get blocked for that when you're in a coaching world.
No, I don't. I think
that had to be some SID football ops guy that probably saw my handle and saw Ole Miss and said, "Heck with this guy."
Yeah, no, we're
come on,
him.
Don't stereotype Brett Bielema handler.
You could at least just unfollow. I mean, block seems a little excessive. I don't know.
Bob Petrino's got me blocked.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How about that?
Which I think I probably did pretty good.
That one is
embarrassed the whole university.
That one is less surprising than Brett Bielema, I gotta say.
Northwestern was there today, and I like what Northwestern what they've accomplished. Ohio State, Purdue, Rutgers, and Wisconsin at the ACC today. Jim Phillips spoke, and then FSU, Georgia Tech, and SMU tomorrow in the ACC. Cal, Pitt, Stanford, Virginia, and Virginia Tech. Tomorrow in the Big Ten, Iowa, Michigan State, Nebraska, Penn State, UCLA, and USC.
There we go. Wow. A lot of those teams just make me giggle, especially Cal taking the podium at ACC Media Days. Nothing better. Nothing like it.
That is somewhat odd.
It is extremely. Not just somewhat, Brett. It is extremely odd, but that
Cal
is
and Pitt in the same league.
On the same day. How about that? Didn't have that one down a couple years ago.
Okay.
No, not on my bingo card, but no, you're right. I mean the communication in the helmets is going to be interesting. I saw last week. I think we might have talked about it, or maybe this might have been Friday when you were out, but. Chris Vanini, who does a good job with The Athletic on Twitter, he was somewhere last week and was getting a demonstration about how the tablets were going to work for the college football teams going into next year. And I think I saw somewhere 2 conferences are using, or in terms of the power conferences, 2 conferences are using the Microsoft tablets, and then 2 conferences, including the SEC, are using iPad. Because Brett, it just means more. You got to have the Apple products on the sidelines.
Well, and Tim Cooks, who's Auburn alum.
I didn't think about that. That's another great point.
Or as the former president would refer to him as Tim Apple.
Well, tomato, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was a demonstration of it, and honestly, Brett, I was sitting there watching this, and I had to question myself: why in the world did we not get these, in college football sooner? I mean, it makes a lot of sense to have them.
The chip and the ball and the chains.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, and so I think all of this stuff is going to be good for the game, and probably just make the competition better. If I had to guess, but
I think so too. 18-team Big Ten.
Crazy.
That's a real Big Ten, isn't it?
18
it's a Big Ten plus 8,
and a giant duck on a river outside. It's
a friend of the show, a friend of ours, texted me this morning and said the big duck floating down the White River. He said, "Take that, SEC. Ringhead has nothing on that league." That's good, isn't it?
Quack, 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 I guess.
Yeah.
Oregon coming at you. But no, we got plenty to talk about when it comes
to. And did you see where the Big Ten incorporated all the pack Heisman Trophy winners on a graphic as Big Ten. Which,
that's right.
I guess Earl Campbell and Ricky Williams Heisman's count in SEC. They didn't win them there, though.
It's a little different because
although you Heisman's.
Yeah, but I mean, you see it and you see USC Heisman winner, Big Ten. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I guess so. But no, we'll talk a lot of college football today. Like Brett mentioned, we've also got to talk about the Grizzlies and their loss last night to the Miami Heat. We'll talk some NFL a little bit later in the show. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Tim Buckley from the Daily Memphian. He's down at AAC Media Day, so he'll join us to talk about everything he heard today at AAC Media Days, also Tiger football. 3:45, we'll talk the NBA and the Grizzlies. Their Summer League lost last night. Summer League in general, the first team all Summer League that a couple of Grizzlies were a part of. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville. He'll join us to talk college football. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant will join us to talk the NFL. We also got to rank more coaches and head coaches, quarterbacks and head coaches, I should say, the AFC North this week. So that will be interesting as we get to that here in a couple hours. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Summer is here, and it's time to party. Get over to Family Leisure. They've got great deals like the 24-foot above-ground pool for $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and robotic cleaners, 20% off. Select in-stock patio furniture up to 50% off. Play gyms up to $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas up to 20% off. And 4-person hot tubs only $29.99. And don't forget about their discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while supplies last. So head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Darian Newsom, we are Sports Time. He's Bryant, I'm Brett. We're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. And all our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be the Tigers starting the season in first as the projected winner of the AAC in the preseason.
Stop the count.
Stop the count.
Stop the count.
Call
it, John King at the big board. It's over. Tigers win.
Tigers win. That was fun thing to see early this morning as AAC Media Days got off. But, you know, I think we expected that to happen. I think we expected the Tigers to be first, but actually seeing it was definitely cool. We were talking before the show. I can't remember a time Memphis was picked first to win the conference. I certainly can't by this margin that they were picked in first today. But a little bit after that, we heard Ryan Silverfield speak. He spoke first at the desk with some of the ESPN crew that covers the AAC and talked about a lot of different things, from the deal with FedEx to the expectations this season to Seth Hennigan and his offseason and some of the newcomers. Then they went over and asked a few questions to the two players he brought, Seth Hennigan and Chandler Martin on the defensive side. And then Ryan Silverfield made his way up to the podium where he addressed the media. I thought gave some good answers, again, you know, about kind of expectation and different things like that. And going into the season, there were obviously a question about playing Florida State where he said, you know, Mike Norvell and him were, extremely close when he was here, and considers him one of his really good friends, and considers a lot of those guys on that staff some of his closest friends. So he said it's gonna be a lot of fun going down there. He said, but he's gonna have his team prepared, ready to go for that one. So that was a lot of fun as well. It was also interesting, that I think a media member maybe from North Texas asked him specifically about Antoine Hill Jr. and that recruitment process, and Ryan had to very quickly say, I cannot speak on him specifically because he is not signed yet, but when it does come to recruiting, and then kind of went into how he attacks recruiting, and basically they're not going to put themselves in a box when it comes to who they recruit and limit it to 3 stars and 2 stars. They're going to go out, and if they see a player that they think can come in and fit this system and fit this program, they're going to go out and try to do that, and talked about kind of the impact that the transfer portal has had. And very interesting what he said is he likes to have a mix. I think you can go back and see these last couple recruiting cycles of he'll go out and get 20 or so high school players that will be true freshmen, but then he's also going to go out and get 15 or so transfer portal guys that can come in and make that immediate impact for his team. So I thought a lot of really good things from Ryan Silverfield at AAC Media Days. But now, Media Days behind him, it's time to get to work. Practice starting very soon, and before we know it, we'll be at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium talking about regular season games. The Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium that into today, more construction going on, that live stream. A lot of fun to just check into every couple of hours and see the progress they're making.
It's good stuff. That's my top story, too. In an election year with every candidate dreaming of a landslide, the Memphis Tigers got one today with an overwhelming vote to win the AAC. In this dream season, the first order of business is winning the AAC regular season. Then that would set up a Friday night, December 6th, AAC championship game at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium with the hard hats on and a lot of loud voices at 7 o'clock on a Friday night on ABC. Win that, and at the very worst, you're a 12 seed. I'm telling you, if the Tigers even 12-1, they're not going to be 12 seed.
Right.
Might be 11.
Sure.
But if they're 13-0, they could really be high. Maybe not be 4, but could be 7 or 8 or 9.
Sure.
And the potential matchups for that is just really exciting to think about where those games could be, et cetera.
Oh, absolutely.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day has got to be training camps opening in the NFL. We're going to talk to Bo Marchant in a couple of hours about everything to expect. A lot of anticipation across the league of what some of these teams could be. And don't look now, but not very long until we're talking about the Hall of Fame game. A week from Thursday will be the Hall of Fame game, and then we'll really get preseason football rolling. So it's always a lot of fun when we get to this point. But the big story today might be Jordan Love. He's at camp with the Packers, but he won't practice until he has a new contract. And obviously a lot of talk of what kind of contract can he get. We saw what he did last year, just an incredible season. And Brent, you talked about him a lot. Great agents.
Right here on the eve of the season.
Yes, you're right about that. They know what they're doing. But you talked a lot about Jordan Love last year and just the type of season he had. It's incredible to think about draft night when he was taken, and obviously the Packers still had Aaron Rodgers. A lot of fans.
Well, how snotty Rodgers treated him.
You're right about that.
Yeah, Rodgers got it from Favre.
Sure,
so all flows downhill.
Yeah, I guess so. But that fan base was not happy at all with that pick. Nobody really understood it. He comes in and kind of gets his first couple of reps, and he struggles a little bit. And everyone's going, "Oh, that was a crazy pick. They should never have made that." But then he comes out there after learning for a couple of years, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. He comes out as the starter, makes the most of it, and I think is going to get a very nice deal before the end of training camp.
Maybe the biggest fallacy across football, maybe across sport, is any veteran quarterback. I don't care if it's a 12th grader helping a 10th grader, or a junior helping a freshman, or Aaron Rodgers helping Brett Favre, or Brett Favre helping Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's helping anybody. It's bloodlust. Nobody's going to groom the successor. My not top story: 18-game NFL regular season. It's inevitable. In my lifetime, I've seen 14, 16, and 17 There were 12 games in 1960, but I was not around in 1960. I won't be around for the 20-game season about year 2050, but they'll do that. There's no stopping them, and it's going to happen. And then they want to lecture us and hector us about player safety. Pure garbage. If they were worried about player safety, we would be reducing games, and I think they should.
Oh, yeah.
I think playing 12 college games, it's way too much, and especially with all these layers of playoffs now. But it's never going to stop. You knew when they first went to 17, it was going to 18.
Oh yeah, no, you knew that was coming. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, we're heading down to AAC Media Days. Tim Buckley from the Daily Memphian. He joins us next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
In Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and great quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby. Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Parkway Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
When we say that Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar, is cool, we're not just talking about the temperature. Now, it is very cool in Bell Tavern this time of year, but it's also just straight up cool. The atmosphere is cool, the employees are cool, and the customers are cool. Bell Tavern isn't for people that feel compelled to act out whether their team is winning or losing. It's for people that act like grown-ups, cool grown-ups. That means if you go to Bell Tavern, you're cool. Lots of people go to big chain sports bars, but you could be one of the people that goes to Bell Tavern. That's cool.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PEC to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermal, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PEC to 321321. That's PEC to 321321.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys, umbrellas and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is an ACUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats, Norsworthy, and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios, and joining us now to talk some Tigers and the AAC Media Days. Tim Buckley from the Daily Memphian joins us now. Tim, thanks so much for joining. How was AAC Media Days, day 2 of AAC Media Days today, and what was your biggest takeaway from it?
Well, there is no doubt that the Memphis Tigers are an overwhelming favorite to run away with the AAC. It was 23 out of 30 first place votes for the Tigers in the preseason media poll. And among several things that Ryan Silverfield had to say about that and expectations for the team are basically you can just take everything on the poll and write it on toilet paper and throw it away. unless you go out and take care of business, nothing means anything. But look, there's no doubt the Tigers are being considered by many as a very viable contender for one of those 12 college football playoff spots.
They sure are, Tim. And you've lived here, you grew up here, you know this area well, you know Tiger football well. I contend, Tim, historically, the Tigers have a better history than when you get outside of Shelby County than people really appreciate. But now it's being talked about. I heard Tom Luganville today talking about Memphis. Last week at SEC, a lot of people talking about it. I love everything about today. I love the vote, and I love Coach Silverfield's reaction to it, and that's how the head coach should react. Let's get to August 1 and get to work.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, and I got a column up, it actually just went up at the Daily Memphian online. Silverfield also said, it was like one of those on one hand and on the other hand, because he's like kind of, they're being dismissive of it like you should because it doesn't mean anything unless you do what you're supposed to do. But on the other hand, he's like, we have even higher expectations for ourselves than what the general public does, and that's what we should do. And then he also took the slant of, well, that's all great, but we haven't proven anything yet. And so, you can take the same angle and give it about 6 different spins and, hey, look, as long as the ball goes 50 yards down the field, who cares what spin it is?
And during talking season, Tim, we're going to take the same angle and have at least 6 different spins.
Yeah,
right.
it really is. There's other sports references for silly season, but talking preseason football in July sometimes seems like silly season. But look, there's excitement. Everybody it is. It's
It is.
You sense that it's right around the corner, and it is not, as Frank Bonner and I were just discussing. Yeah. It is not fall camp that is right around the corner. It is blazing hot in early August camp. Summer camp that is right around the corner.
Yes.
Tim, having spent last week down there, if they come around trying to collect property taxes from you for me, just tell them they got to catch up with me because both of us have had plenty of time there. I love that layout where they're having it at Lowe's there by Texas Live. I guess the league, even with the change of commissioner, is going to stay very Dallas-Fort Worth-centric.
Yeah, it seems like it. Although they're actually in the Lowe's hotel side as opposed to the live side, which, unbeknownst to me, was on the other side of the street. So we'll see whether or not the voucher for the valet parking works on the side I can't talk.
It'll work, Tim. Throw your weight around. Tell them who you are.
That's right.
Yeah, that'll work.
I love, Tim, you mentioned your column that you just put up at the Daily Memphian. I was reading through it a little bit before we had you on. And my favorite part early in it is where you asked both the players and Coach Silverfield to kind of talk about the expectations this season and how they play fair with them, and you ask them not to use either one game at a time or 1 week at a time. And so Chandler Martin said one practice at a time, and Seth Hennigan opted for 1 day at a time. I love that. They have very clearly been around their head coach.
Yeah, and he loved it too. You're not alone. Ryan Silverfield absolutely loved it because that's what they're preaching, and that's what you have to preach. And I get it, but you can talk up North Alabama all you want, and they did. You can talk up Troy all you want, and they did. Their first two opponents, but obviously, there are some over there that have Florida State in the third week circled. That's a big one, but you know what? They go to Tallahassee, they knock off the Seminoles, they make life difficult for Mike Norvell. None of it matters if you lose to the Troy Trojans. So, fair point for them on that part of it. But I just tried to have a little bit of fun with that, and they were happy to oblige and play along.
That's great.
I knew a college football coach one time. He told the minister for the pregame prayer, whatever you do, you can have any reference you want from the good book, Old Testament, New Testament. Just don't give me the proverbial, going against the giant. I don't want that. I don't want it in their head that they're the underdog.
Oh, man, that's good.
I used to travel with a football team on a charter plane. I had the team chaplain always in the row behind me by coincidence, but I loved it because I used to joke with him that he's watching over me.
Yeah, I always like sitting by the minister, especially in bad weather. Tim, right. I like to joke when on the Ole Miss plane. I like to sit in the back with Cheer and Palm and all them because they make the plane smell so much better. It's great sitting by them.
That's great.
Oh,
Tim Buckley joins us from the Daily Memphian. We've mentioned the preseason poll a couple of times. The top four: Memphis, UTSA, Tulane, and South Florida. Who do you think gives Memphis the biggest challenge kind of in that group of the top four?
Memphis. I mean, they are their biggest opponent. They just have to make sure that they take care of business. And look, that's not to disrespect anybody. Tulane puts out good football. UTSA puts out good football. Just look back at the last few. They're going to have a tough game against South Florida on the road on that one. They got some challenges ahead of them, but they just have to overcome themselves and not let the lofty expectations go to their heads. Both Tulane and UTSA will be, having new starting quarterbacks. I think that plays a factor. And you're looking at a kid like Seth Hennigan, who is just so smart and so locked in with what he does. And he has a great time doing it. And he's a funny kid too. He really is. So they're sitting comfy in the seat of. They got a lot of experience coming back and a lot of talent coming back, especially some of those receivers and the transfer running back from South Carolina that they have coming in, and a lot of reasons to feel really good. Now let's see what happens on defense. Obviously, with the coordinator change, they got some things on the back end to address. They got a solid linebacking core led by Chandler Martin, yeah, it's taking care of themselves might be the biggest challenge.
Boy, that is a compliment when your biggest foe is yourself. Every week it's about you and not necessarily about the opponent. You mentioned those receivers, Blankowski, Rock Taylor, and even in the slot, the first down getter. You need 16. Kobe Drake always seems to be catching the ball for 17. You need 11. He'll get you 12. He could be the best in the slot wide receiver in the country.
Yeah, and those guys, I think, were a big reason why Seth Hennigan is coming back for his final, or I should say for his fourth season. Who knows, because these kids have 11 years of eligibility now, I believe, before they're officially done. But coming back for another season starting, he loved the talent that was coming around. And Ryan Silverfield wasn't certain. There was no guarantee that Seth Hennigan was coming back. And I'm sure you'll read some of what all of them had to say about it with some of the reporting that Frank Bonner's done for the Daily Memphian in the coming days. They had some interesting tales to tell about how the off season went and what went into all that. But the talent at receiver was a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you mentioned the defense a second ago, and I think there's been so much talk about the offense with Seth coming back and Rock coming back and picking up Mario Anderson from South Carolina. But when you look at this defense, what do you expect to see from them? What's kind of your biggest question for this defensive unit going into the season?
Well, I want to see what it's going to look like scheme wise. What sort of changes they'll make, compared to a season ago, with Jordan Hankinson as the coordinator. I mean, he's been around, obviously, coaching linebackers, but it's very much in his hands now, and they've got some improvement to make. And to that point, one of the things that these guys today were talking about, and it was kind of in the realm of discussing expectations and all that, but it goes to defensive performance as well. The Tigers have been involved in a boatload of one-score games over the past couple years, few years that have gone both their way and not gone their way. And if you have a defense that's not up to snuff, there's going to be more of them that don't go your way. So they have things to buckle down on defensively, but I think they have a nice leader in Chandler Martin too. He's a little on the quiet side. Smiles a lot, I'll tell you that. Seems to be having a great time here. One of those great college football stories too started at East Tennessee. An FCS kid that now at this stage in his career they're talking as somebody who has the potential for All-American consideration. So it'll be interesting to see what that defense does.
Tim, on your ballot, who did you have as second in the AAC that would potentially be the opponent on Friday night, December 6th, in an AAC championship game at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium?
That was such a brilliantly set up question, Brett, and I feel horrible because I didn't have a ballot. Frank did the ballot.
Who would you have?
No clue who it was.
Would you have UTSA or USF or Tulane?
If I had to, you know what? I'm gonna go outside the box, and I'm gonna go with the team that got one vote for first place. Give me Army and their unconventional offense that will be new for AAC teams to have to deal with. Give me a surprise out of left field Army, really mixing things up for some of the traditionals like Tulane.
Wouldn't that be the last opponent Ryan Silverfield would want with a week to get ready for that option? I know they got a good book on the option with playing Navy, but playing them early in the year and diving at your legs the week before a playoff. I hope you're wrong on that one, Tim.
Ryan Silverfield was talking about that the off week that other teams are able to enjoy before they play the Tigers. And there was a lot of talk too from the commissioner, the new commissioner Tim Pernetti, about the whole Army-Navy thing, and do they have any shot at the conference getting some sort of deal with rights for that game? Obviously, it's college football tradition that's kind of its own entity, and he even talked about he wouldn't want to do anything that would bring down what that institution already is, but just the fact that Memphis is now in a conference that has Army and Navy in it, kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. A lot of fun catching up with you, hearing about what took place today at AAC Media Days, and let's do this again soon.
Sounds good, fellas. Take care.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim, so much. Thank you so much. Tim Buckley from the Daily Memphian doing great work down at AAC Media Days across the street from Globe Life Park. I wonder if he's going to White Sox and Rangers
tonight.
Tonight.
He might. That'd be
that was a good one last night. Rangers won it late.
They sure did, and kind of classic White Sox where they take a lead early in the game and then they crumble late in that one. But it'd be a good pitching matchup tonight. You got Garrett Crochet for the White Sox, John Gray for the Rangers. So I wouldn't mind seeing that one. Go down and see some that really bad, maybe a historically bad White Sox team, you could say, you went and saw play against the Rangers.
Sure could, because they're getting back into 62 Mets range.
They absolutely are. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we've got to talk about what happened with the Grizzlies last night as they fall in the Summer League Championship game. Also some other NBA news. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Listen up, I got Marty McNate on the line at Gossett Volkswagen, Germantown. Hey McNate, how far back you moving on prices?
Way back, Randy. Doc told me you can take your pick. 2024 Teos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport. Gotta go back in time to the good old days at $275 a month.
Great Scott, McNate. Gossett Volkswagen on Germantown is really moving prices back.
That's right, Randy.
And I hear you got the 2024 Atlas Peak Editions going for $5,000 off MSRP, or you can get 1.9 for 60 months.
That's right, Randy. Your future's whatever you make of it, so let's get to Gossett Volkswagen, Germantown.
Ask for Marty to find out how much he can move you back on price. Hey, Marty, hit us with that Gossett Volkswagen locator.
7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com.
Everyone loves home improvement. South Haven Supply and Warehouse 51 makes it easy. A real hardware store run by 3 generations of a real hardware family where you can get it all. Whether it's repairs, remodeling, or new building, kitchens, bathrooms, tiles, tubs, vanities, sinks, mirrors, lighting, furniture, even door hardware. All the latest designs as well as timeless classics. And if outdoor fun is on your mind, they have the Big Green Egg and Accessories. South Haven Supply and Warehouse 51, 8560 Highway 51. Easy home improvement.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
O'Reilly. Save money today on your next full synthetic oil change at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a $10 gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $35.95. Our professional parts people can recommend the oil change supplies you need at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We've got a couple minutes left in this hour, and we've got to talk some NBA. Last night, NBA Summer League wrapped up with the championship game, and the Heat, they take home the trophy and the rings with a 120-118 win in overtime over the Grizzlies. It was back and forth pretty much all game. It gets down the stretch. Grizzlies make some big-time plays late in regulation to send it into overtime, and then we get the Elam ending overtime where I believe they added 7 points to the score when overtime started, and ultimately Miami was the first to get to that total score. They win 120-118. Some of the takeaways: Jake LaRavia finished with 32 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. G.G. Jackson added 28. Scottie Pippen had 29 points, 11 assists, and 5 rebounds. So some good play by players that I think the Grizzlies, we'll need for them to give the big league team some minutes next year.
Yeah, and for Jake LaRavia, I don't know this, but I would imagine all-time leading scorer in Grizzlies team history in summer league.
Yeah, I don't know. I need
record may never be broken.
Maybe never.
Ruthian.
Yeah, honestly, I don't. I would have to get we need a game
Otanian.
book for a game book for summer league or something, so we can keep up with all of the summer league records and different things like that. But good for Jake. I'm not sold on him still. I don't think anything in summer league.
I'm not sold on him until I see him do it October, November, December, January, February, March, and April, and maybe into May.
Yeah, because Brett, we've seen this game from Jake LaRavia where he goes out, he has a good summer league, and we're all saying, okay, Jake's gonna be a good player off the bench for them, and then regular season rolls around, and he just can't produce.
Now, I'd rather have this than a toast-up or summer league.
Absolutely. I think, having him do this and saying, okay, well, let's wait and see is better than, oh, we knew he couldn't play, and now he's not playing in summer league, and this is really bad. So
he did not make first-team summer league. G.G. Jackson and Scottie Pippen did. Yeah. Jordan Miller, Reed Sheppard, Khalil Ware round out the starting 5. Of those 5, what career do you bet on to have the biggest? G.G. Jackson, Jordan Miller, Scottie Pippen, Reed Sheppard, Khalil Ware.
Give them to me one more time.
G.G. Jackson, Jordan Miller, Scottie Pippen, Reed Sheppard, Khalil Ware.
I'm gonna go with G.G. From what I saw last year, I'm gonna go with G.G. on this one.
Are we being homers?
Yes, but that's okay.
Well, of course we are.
Of course we are.
I think Reed Sheppard.
Really?
You'd bet on him for the career over Gigi. I don't know that I would. Hey, not being homer. I'm not being.
I think he seems to transition so seamlessly. His game just looks really good to me right now.
I just need, if he starts playing like that in regular season, then I might be in that same boat with you.
G.G. Jackson's already done it in real games.
Exactly, and that's
just 1 year over him,
and
that will be nothing when you get through 13 years for both of them.
And that's going to be that was in a much different role than what he's going to be asked to do this year. So right now I'll give it G.G. just because I've seen him look really impressive against other NBA teams, against big-time NBA teams. But I think Reed Sheppard's probably number 2 for me. It's probably pretty close. I've been really impressed with what Reed Sheppard did last year at Kentucky and this year in Summer League.
And they both, in their college career, G.G. Jackson at South Carolina in the SEC, and Reed Sheppard at Kentucky in the SEC, they both won the same number of NCAA tournament games.
That is correct. Yes, teams were a little different, but
that's right. Kentucky played that old man team.
Yes,
with the average starter of 30, older than summer league teams.
You're absolutely right about that. Maybe older than some NBA teams. You could say, Brett.
Some reunion teams.
yes. A lot of old guys, a lot of old heads.
Brian, look at here. There is a NBA Memphis Grizzlies Summer League stat book.
You're kidding.
Absolutely, there is.
Oh, my goodness.
All-time leading scorer?
They don't give you all time. They give you points per game. So points per game, he averaged 18. So he led the team last year at 18 points per game.
Wow.
But the most points per game in a Summer League season, do you guys know?
No guess.
Josh Selby.
Josh Selby.
Was it really?
Josh Selby.
I mean, he was
24.2. Just by a hair. Desmond Bain was 24.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
I guess O.J. would only played one summer league right after he was drafted.
Yeah.
18-7. Yep. OJ averaged 18-7.
How about that?
In the 08-09.
I saw him get 44 in an NBA game.
Yeah, it's OJ. I love OJ. So, no, but I think, good summer league, and I think you saw some good stuff from guys that you wanted to see things from. And so I know you had the injuries with Zach Edey, but I think ultimately all positives from summer league.
For sure. We won't be concerned with that unless it's something we're not being told.
Sure. And then we got a big problem. I mean, Brett, if it's something like that where it is something that is not being told, which I don't think it is, but if it is, we got a big problem because that would be 2 years in a row that something like that has gone down.
Yeah, and I think for all the goodwill for the front office and earned in a lot of cases, that's what's going to get them in trouble with rank and file is kind of the next head fake. Not fib. They haven't directly told whoppers.
No.
But it's never the whole truth.
That's right. Yeah, they've never come out and just blatantly lied. But there have been things that they've,
It's a lot of head faking.
Kept closed doors, yes. And then it, turns out, what Steven Adams was last year. And
we were so used to the Grizzlies being a leak machine.
Oh, yeah.
That this crew is just clamped down.
Yeah.
You don't get the time of day from them.
Yeah, it's the complete opposite. I mean, you don't know anything until it's already happened. So it's definitely weird. But I think all positives. I think a lot of really good takeaways from the Summer League. And a lot of guys that will come out of it going into camp with a lot of confidence with how they play. Jalen Wells, I thought, hit some really nice shots last night after his unbelievable game in the semifinals. So definitely a lot of positives from that. But we need to go ahead and get to our final break of this hour. And when we come back, talking some college football. Brent Beard from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. He's going to join us. Got to talk about SEC Media Days from last week, ACC Media Days going on right now, Big Ten Media Days as well. So we'll talk a lot of college football next with Brent Beard.
Take your basketball shooting and passing skills to new levels at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge science and technology and provides instant objective feedback with actual hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching that will help make you the best basketball player on any court. You've heard about Shoot 360 in Collierville. Well, coming this July, Shoot 360 will have another bigger location in Cordova. Shoot 360 in Collierville and soon in Cordova will transition from 3- and 6-month memberships to a monthly membership model. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent or NBA player, all skill levels use the Shoot 360 basketball program to learn proper shooting techniques, improve their fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge. Shoot 360 Memphis. Call them today. 901-316-5500. That's 316-5500. Or visit them at 85 Market Center Drive in Collierville. And coming in July to Cordova. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Hey, Rock and Ronnie Smith, it's the big Vista Summer event at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram out on the pike. Yo, Rock and Ronnie, what you got going on?
I've got 2023 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive, $26,095 or $388 a month.
That's a rockin' Jeep deal. What else you got, Ronnie?
Power up in a 2023 Dodge Charger FXT, $26,795 or $398 a month.
And Ronnie, I know you're in the big Vista Summer event. You gotta have an incredible Ram deal.
2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4-wheel drive, $697 a month.
Rock and Ronnie is rocking some deals today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram out on the pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net. Renegade Triple P 57,256, MSRP 31,095, Charger PH 636,170, MSRP 37,215, Ram RN 2032, MSRP 58,8. Price includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. All exclude tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Dealer stock only.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call, hit Granger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you own a business, you know Luttrell Belting keeps you moving. Luttrell has cost-effective belts, conveyor components, and 24/7 on-site service to keep you operating smoothly. Text are just a phone call away at 800-441-8946 or online at LuttrellBelting.com. Luttrell's Memphis plant stocks belting in nearly every size and finish, and if they don't have it, they'll make it. From ordering to selection, fabrication, and installation, your Luttrell sales rep is there for you. Luttrell Belting keeps you moving.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start August 14th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Looking for an engagement ring that will really knock her socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds. It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you some quality. Genesis Vice President David Cooper, the craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none better than anything else. Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from rings to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly custom craft you literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream. Things that other stores may call new, we've been doing for 3, 4, and 5 years already. So don't settle for me to the style design. You deserve. I'm David Cooper from Genesis Diamonds, and I'm excited to see you on the show. It's extended.
College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beard, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beard. SEC, ACC, AAC. We talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beard with Bryant and Brent.
Brent Beard joins us now from First Coast News in Jacksonville to talk some college football, and got plenty to talk about. Last week we had SEC Media Days. This week we have ACC Media Days. Big Ten Media Days got kicked off earlier this morning. Brent, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with SEC Media Days. I'm sure you saw a lot of it. What was your biggest takeaway from what you heard last week down in Dallas?
Well, I think, first of all, there was no real outstanding controversy. Look, it was pretty. I'm curious with y'all being there, but there wasn't the something outlandish in the print room or anything like that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it was a little calmer than it normally is. Certainly, Dallas was the star. And they did a fine job with everything that they did. I mean, certainly Oklahoma and Texas, especially with Sark and that burnt orange suit that he had on, made their presence known all the way. So it's not that things didn't go on, and it's not that we didn't get some pretty good information out of it. I just thought it was a tad tamer than it normally is.
Brent, great take. It was by design. It was very calculated. I had a league official tell me early Monday morning the goal for them last week is make no news. I said, wait a second. We've gone to a lot of trouble for a little news. He goes, no headlines this week. And they wanted Dallas and Texas and OU's entrance to be the star.
Yeah. And that's basically what we got from that. Now, obviously, people think more of Texas than they do OU, even though OU's got almost 25 players who've been there for 3 years, so that will help them. But I can absolutely see that, which will be interesting if Dallas gets into the rotation a little bit more. But no,
that is really what struck me, was that it was I don't know if I want to say it was routine and a matter of fact, Brett, but it was close.
It was, and again, I think by design. And you can't have the breaking news of 2021 or even some of the other news.
No.
And this looks like it really is going to be the not just quiet, the nothing in expansion summer in conference realignment.
Well, I still think that somewhere over the next few months we will get something, but I think that's kind of what you're seeing right now. Certainly, Greg Sankey made it clear that they are happy with 16, and again, expansion's dormant, not dead, and I do think something happens with that later on. But I appreciate what Sankey said when asked about expansion, and he said, "Look, we really don't want to get embroiled in any legalities that we've got to deal with coming from other conferences." Now, I do think that FSU is still leaving. It may not be as quick as we thought it was because these negotiations probably go a little. It takes a little longer than we think they do at this point. But that's a good point. I mean, basically, the hay is in the barn. You're hearing that from the Big Ten. They're all excited about talking to the Oregon and Washington, USC and UCLA, and getting their take on things, and then talking ball. So, unless something lands in our lap that we're not really expecting right now, status quo may be that way for a lot of these media days.
Where do you think FSU wants to go and thinks they can go?
I still think they're going to the Big Ten. I really do. I've thought that for quite some time. I've talked to some people who I trust over in Tallahassee, and right now what they're doing is just basically trying to get the money right, and that is to where the ACC is able to get some money, and then FSU is able to pay less money. So when they find out that magical number, I think that's what's going to happen. Now, again, they've got their stadium that's going to be refurbished. Not this year. They're only going to seat about 55,000 this year, but the following year is when they're looking at Alabama coming to town and so forth. So, look, that sometimes as quick as these things happen, sometimes they will drag on a little bit, and it may even be 26, 27 before FSU makes that move. But I do think certainly by the end of the decade that we will have more moves by then.
So if Florida State, whether it's the Big Ten or somewhere else, what would that mean? I know we've talked about this before. What would that mean for the ACC? Because I hear a lot of Memphis fans and people here locally obviously want to get to a power conference, and a lot of people talking about the ACC being a possibility. But the thing for me, at least, is when I start thinking about Florida State leaving and maybe Clemson leaving, and then that could open the door for North Carolina, Virginia. It reminds me a lot of what happened with the Big East when Memphis got the invite, and it turned into the CUSA Part 2 with the American. What kind of position do you think Memphis is in right now when it comes to potential conference realignment down the road?
Well, from what the thing I'm hearing is, as far as the ACC, is they may look at South Florida. The two schools I've heard mentioned first, or the first two, are South Florida and Memphis. With the ACC, and they, I mean, obviously, you still got Cal, Stanford, and SMU. I don't think that's necessarily moving the meter for anybody, but they at least wanted to get some teams in there in order to fill the gap because of what they thought was coming. And I still think, and it's not going to be quick because they've got a lot of political things to go in that state. I still could see North Carolina being in the SEC in 5 years. It's not going to happen overnight, but look for but I've certainly heard first South Florida, and then second I've heard Memphis for the ACC. Now, will that happen? We don't know. but that's kind of the conjecture that's going on.
How would you have voted your SEC championship game?
I would have probably done either Georgia and Texas or Georgia and Alabama.
That was my top three, and then Ole Miss fourth. And then my voting was exactly the top five. Georgia 1, Texas 2, Alabama 3, Ole Miss 4, LSU 5.
And again, the thing, and we need to say this often, is our thinking's changed this year. We don't have divisions anymore. So the top two teams, and we've been talking about this for a while, guys, and I was glad to hear Greg Sankey say that they are coming up with a tiebreaker system. I think it helped me, Brett. I think they said that there were going to be 8 principles is what he said that they would go by. I guess you're going down the list until you get it straightened out. But yeah, the thought process again is whoever's in the top 5 in the SEC very well may be going to the playoffs. So it's certainly 3. I think probably 4 that they're going to get in. I don't know if they get that every year, but I think they get close to it.
Any way for the ACC to get in 3?
Oh, and so I guess anything's possible. I mean, as far as right now, you're thinking about Florida State, Clemson. I mean, Miami's going to be up there because of Kim Ward and what they did in the transfer portal. So that could be possible. But then, as we've done the math before, Brett Bryant, when you get your 4 from the Big Ten, you get your 4 from the SEC, and that's 8. And you're looking at 2 minimum, at least from the ACC, and that's 10 wowzers. When you actually do the math of this stuff, guys, you can fill up that 12 pretty quick, can't you?
Sure can. And Memphis today, overwhelming, almost 80% of the vote picked to win the AAC, and a lot of people on alert for Memphis being the non-Power 5 team. So there's going to be one, so that's 11. It's just not a lot of spots, and I think that's why we will eventually get to 14. Brent, it was almost no conversation about the quick move to 14 at SEC last week.
Wow. Well, that's fascinating, frankly, just to be able to think about that. And again, the thing, and Brett's told us this now for years, and it's just taken time. That are we going to 9 is not off the table, is it? That is out there, and what in the article and the people I've talked to, what really fascinated me about that was this phrase: the people who voted against it before are seeing how much money they can make, and they've changed their mind.
Money talks.
Sure does.
It does.
and college administrators, I mean, they're like vampires with blood. They just can't get their hands on enough money.
No.
You give them $100, they're going to spend $200.
There aren't enough revenue streams for them, are they?
No,
never ends.
Not at all.
No.
Brent Beard joining us from First Coast News in Jacksonville to talk college football. It felt like, even though we heard from all the coaches last week at SEC Media Days, one of the biggest stars and one of the biggest takeaways from the week was Nick Saban being fully media on SEC Network throughout the week. Seemed extremely comfortable. What did you think of Nick Saban in a different role at SEC Media Days?
Well, the main thing for Saban is he's either experienced it or he's prepared, or both.
Yeah,
and that's what you got with him. I mean, it was certainly a lot of the coaches gave him his due diligence and what he did for them, like Sark, for instance, like Lane Kiffin, for instance. I'll be honest with you, and probably some of this is my own grief. I was quite touched by Lane's grief. I thought you could reach out and touch it in some ways. I appreciated that from him. That was probably difficult for him in some ways too. But that really got my attention. But yeah, Saban was very good. And again, as we talked over the last few months, guys, I think he's going to do tremendous things for game day on Saturday morning.
And Brent, in your lifetime, you've been to Tuscaloosa, to simply Denny Stadium, and then to Bryant Denny Stadium, and now Saban Field at Bryant Denny Stadium, and it will be first. A lot of time when it's the field, like at Auburn, it's Jordan-Hare Stadium at Pat Dye Field.
Yeah.
At Arkansas, it's Razorback Stadium at Frank Broyles Field. Here in Memphis, at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium at Rex Dockery Field. At Tennessee, Shields Watkins Field is second. It's going to be first, and I think it's appropriate.
I agree. And remember also, we're close to Tallahassee, so haven't been that long since it's been Bobby Bowden Field. And we're certainly aware of that. I frankly, with what Saban has accomplished in his career, I still thought they should have put his name on the stadium. I mean, you can still do
and drop Bryant and Denny.
No.
Well, they're doing that then.
I think you could put all three on there, and it would still roll off the tongue okay. So,
I got you. So Saban, Bryant, Denny.
Yeah, something of that nature. Yes.
Well, they're kind of doing that. And as I mentioned, usually when it's the field designation, that almost always comes second. But he's going first. I asked this on Jocks last Thursday morning. When's the Library and Museum going up for Coach Saban?
Well, that's a great question. And look, the thing to me that and whether it be the museum or whatever it is, I think it'd be very appropriate for the city of Tuscaloosa to do something for him.
Sure would be.
I mean, for what he did. I mean, listen, guys.
For what he did to hotel room rates.
There's no question about that. And the other thing with that would be, look, he and I'll be off on the numbers, but I mean, and I mean, I've heard that they basically doubled the student population from when he got there in 2007 to when he left. So I mean, look, I cannot even calculate the amount of money that would be if look, I know they're not all there for football, but we also know
they should be.
That had a lot to do with some of those folks coming. Yes.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Going back over to ACC Media Days, I've heard a lot of people, and we've talked about the three new teams coming in: Cal, Stanford, and SMU. SMU being the interesting one because they will get paid nothing. They'll be playing for free for the first couple of years in the ACC. But I have seen a lot of people talking about this year's SMU team could scare some teams. They could be a dark horse in this conference.
Yeah.
What do you expect to see? Because we saw, last year with those three teams coming from the American going to the Big 12, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston. All three of those teams really struggled in their first year of conference play. What do you expect to see from SMU in their first year of the ACC?
I think they'll be quite competitive. I mean, Rhett Lashley has done a really nice job there, and I'm still going to be interested to see how all the travel is going to be done for them. But I think they'll be competitive, certainly. And look, there are some. I don't necessarily want to say not competitive teams in that league, but this team could be pretty good. I mean, they were 11-3 last year. That Preston Stone kid comes back at quarterback. So I mean, if they can, they've got 8 coming back on offense, 6 coming back on defense. So they'll probably make the noise of the 3. I don't think anybody expects a whole lot from Cal and Stanford in the beginning, but although that Mumford kid, that's the kid at Pittsburgh that I was thinking about. But no, they should do fine. That's going to be very interesting. And I was listening to to the media days too, that they think obviously we thought Miami could be good. The kid I was thinking about was just Jaden Ott at Cal, who really is a very good running back. I mean, he could do some things for them. So that'll be fascinating to see. But yeah, but it's, from what we've heard, the ACC media like SMU to make the biggest difference among those three.
We mentioned this morning early in the AAC media days, Memphis overwhelmingly voted number one. The battle all year for that slot will be that'll be a bracket within a bracket. That every week, the Sunday bowl projections that we start on after week one, it's going to be fascinating to watch kind of that play out all year. It'll look like an EKG machine.
Well, and it will, and I know I mentioned South Florida a few minutes ago in the ACC, but I mean with their facilities, I mean they're picked third. The thing that fascinates me is this UTSA Roadrunner team. It's thought of a lot.
That coach, Jeff Traylor's earned it.
Yeah, listen, he hasn't he? That look, that's going to be very fascinating to see where he ends up in a few years too.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. But it's been a lot of fun last week with SEC Media Days, now today with a lot of media days going today and then through the rest of the week. But Brent, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
And listen, I'll leave you with this. I'm sure as tired as Brett is, he would cringe at this right now. But one thing you're really seeing with these media days is how much longer they're getting.
Oh, man. Yes.
I mean, the guys, I remember the ACC, y'all do too, where they had 2 days. One day was players, the other day was coaches, and now that is multiplied with the days. We're seeing that with a lot of these conferences. My stars, guys, what is that Big Ten going to do if they're looking sooner than later at 20 teams and having and how many days would you need for that, guys?
And Brent, wait till basketball season, where just about every conference tries to do that in a single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really? Is it going to be 15-minute increments for all of them? Lord.
Be a lot. That's for sure. Well, Brent, thanks so much. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it, guys. Always enjoy it. Take care.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you, Brent. Have a great week. Brent Beard with us every week talking college football, and that vote again today. So UTSA got a first-place vote, and South Florida and Army.
No, I think Tulane got first-place votes, UTSA got first-place votes, and Army did. I don't
South Florida got 0. Okay.
Yeah, South Florida got 0. And the one I was looking at a second ago didn't have all the first-place votes, but the one I saw earlier had them, and it jumped out to me. I was like, USF doesn't have any first-place votes, because I know we talked about it yesterday. I thought that would be kind of a dark horse team that would get a handful of first-place votes from media members.
Yeah, what Willie Fritz built and what John Summerall did at Troy and now coming in there, I think a lot of people are on alert for Tulane to be good again. At All-Star Chevrolet, that's where we need to start our drive to the beach, to the lake, to the mountains, to anywhere fun, and what we really want to drive in, and that's something from All-Star Chevrolet. First exit on Highway 78, you cross into Mississippi, take Kraft Goodman Road, and you're there. Hundreds of new and pre-owned Silverados. Some mark 12% off invoice. Add up the All-Star special discounts and look for Costco member deals. It's one sweet buyer's market right now with financing as low as 1.9%. No payments for 90 days on a bunch of new All-Star Chevys at All-Star Chevrolet. And nothing beats road trips like that in a new Tahoe. Get an extra $500 bonus back if you're in military or first responder, an educator, a college grad, a healthcare worker. No matter what pre-owned you're looking for, they have it at All-Star. 4Runners, Expedition, Jeeps, Navigator, all the trucks at All-Star in Olive Branch, where you can drive every single one of them. Bring any vehicle you want to sell and get a big check for it today. Don't miss out on All-Star Chevy special summer sale going on right now in Olive Branch. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, a good night of Major League Baseball last night. It should be a lot of fun tonight as well, except for Cardinal fans who have to see Paul Skeens again on the bump. That'll be rough. We'll talk about that and everything else going on in Major League Baseball next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp today. We have representatives nationwide and services to showcase your invention. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Need a little help? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. Need advice? We've got advice. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Exceptional customer service. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
One of the key things that separates Genesis Diamonds from other jewelry stores is nobody's paid on commission. Vice President Nina Abraham says Genesis Diamond experts are never incentivized to get you to spend more or to buy something that's not in your budget.
Doesn't matter how much you spend. If you spend $500 or $50,000, their main focus is finding the perfect engagement ring or basic jewelry or sales tactics.
So when you walk into Genesis Diamonds, you can relax, take your time, get the education you deserve, and make a decision that's best for you, not the salesperson.
They can trust us. It's a huge, huge difference when you know that that person is just going to focus on what I want, what I am looking for, not what they want to sell.
No pressure, no risk, no pricing games, no nonsense. At Genesis, it's about making you happy.
It's for life. It's a customer for life. It's a relationship for life.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury premium Rolexes and operating records extend.
I'm Ina Abraham, and my accent is always on value.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Sports 56 traffic.
Police activity out here on 40 eastbound on the Hernando de Soto Bridge. Got traffic backed up all the way into West Memphis on I-40 going eastbound. Also a crash northbound on 55 over here at South Parkway. That's going to slow down that traffic in the construction zone. Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub to curbless shower conversions. HavenlyShowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And last night, fun night of baseball. Tonight should be fun, but like I mentioned, going to the break, Cardinals got to see that guy again, Paul Skeens, on the road this time. So
pitching in the All-Star game a week ago tonight.
That's exactly right. So it's been a whirlwind of a couple of months for Paul Skeens. And heck, last time he saw the Cardinals, he got a standing ovation from their fans. So
that's best fans in baseball.
Right.
He got a standing ovation from. He'll get a standing O tonight. Hope the crowd's bigger in Pittsburgh than it was last night. Only about 19,000 there for great crowds all weekend. I bet it will be for Skeens against Lance Lynn. Palante was good last night. The Pirates were just better. That was a great game last night. That the Pirates they were able to win it and tack one on late, win 2-1. 2-1 would go a long way tonight.
No, it absolutely would, and you're right. That was a really good pitching matchup last night. Palante looked really, really good, and only gives up one run, and ultimately they score one late in bottom of the eighth, and it's kind of how games have gone this year for the Cardinals. There's some games that have been kind of blowouts,
a lot of close games.
A lot of them have been really, really close one way or the other, whether it's the Cardinals winning or coming up short. So they come up short last night, and you really, I think, wanted to grab that one and get a win there because of who you're going up against tonight in Paul Skeens. But we'll see what happens tonight. A game that gets started here in about a little more than an hour, an early first pitch in Pittsburgh. So it'll be fun tonight. But you're right, a good matchup between Lynn and Skeens.
Everybody around the 100 games played mark. St. Louis exactly 152 and 48, so 62 left. 31-31 will get you nothing. 83 wins, I don't think, will do it. In the preseason, I thought 84 might win the division. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it gets way up there. 87, 88 will go a long way to maybe winning the division and being somewhere in the playoff picture. Atlanta just trying to soldier through, and I think they may have taken too many hits. They lost last night. The Cardinals only trail them in the loss column for that first wild card by 3 games, but that's the same as the Mets. They only trail by 3. Pittsburgh only trails by 4. You get down to San Diego and Arizona, I think they are still viable for somewhere in the National League playoff picture. Jed Hoyer of the Cubs, I think, made a lot of Cub fans mad. He's a little bit waving the white flag, wasn't he?
Yeah, a little bit, and
get them next year.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but
Cub fans have heard that a lot.
They have, and I think there were a lot.
116 years.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of anticipation for this Cubs team coming into the season. A lot of excitement, new manager, and a good team, and a lot of people thought that they would be able to compete, and a good start to the year, but just have not been able to live up to it. And so you're right, but going back to what you said about the Braves. Last night, 4-1 loss to the Reds, and I was watching MLB Network late last night after all the games were over, and they were kind of saying the same thing of, this Braves team.
You can just take so much.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, the injuries just are overwhelming, and it feels like the Braves are kind of in that position, and they were saying that, you could see some teams, topple them, and the Braves being in a really tricky spot late in the season.
Do you think there will be anything big at trade deadline, or is it like it usually is, a whole lot of smoke and very little flame?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it could go a couple different directions.
Is Vlad Guerrero big?
That'd be really big, I think.
Okay.
I think that would be huge. So I think you keep an eye on him, but I think the biggest name for me that I'm keeping an eye on is Turk Skubal. And what do the Tigers do? Do they decide to keep him and say, we're going to try to do something with him, or do they trade him and try to get a couple of prospects? I saw, going back to MLB Network, they put out, I guess earlier this morning on one of their shows, they were going through possible trades for the Tigers. It sounds like the Orioles are a team that a lot of people think could be a spot for him. Baltimore needs pitching. And I mean, some of the trades that were being thrown out there, I don't know if the Orioles would do that. One of them involved Jackson Holliday. But if those type of trades were proposed to me, if I was in charge, if I was the GM of the Tigers, I would have to do a lot of thinking about it for sure.
If you were the Cardinals,
okay,
and the right deal came along that involved Paul Goldschmidt and Ryan Helsley. Would you do it? Would you do that for Guerrero, for that big bat?
I don't know. I don't know what his contract is. If his contract has him being here for a couple years, then yeah, I would
only next year.
Only next year.
As the contract terms right now for Vlad Jr.
I'd take it. Yeah, I'd probably do that.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would too, and hope
Yeah.
by committee and the bullpen, and that you could get him there and he'd fall in love with it like Goldschmidt did and like Arenado did. Not all of them. Not all free agents did.
No.
But Jason Hayward did not.
No,
but
no.
most do.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would take a stab at it, and just see what happens, and you certainly get that bat the rest of this year, and then like you said, next year, and then just kind of see how it all plays out, and hope that when you got a guy like Vlad Guerrero, that you as an organization put a good enough deal in front of him to keep him around, and that he at least likes the way the team's built and the city, and if you can get that out of him and get another contract out of him, that'd be a massive win, I think.
And I think most fans, I'm guilty of this as well. Most fans want to give up Palante and maybe Tink. What's Tink's last name?
Hintz.
Tink Hintz for Aaron Judge.
That's right. Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. And that's kind of been the conversation a while, because I remember Soto. When Soto was on the table, and I was like, I'd love to have Soto, but the trades that I'm seeing out there, I don't think are going to work. And
couldn't offer enough.
No, and then it was
didn't have it.
And then it was we're not going to trade Carlson in any deal. He's our guy. And so
remember, I went crazy over JoJo Romero.
Well, of course, and he's actually
he's been pretty good.
He's been pretty good.
He got righted in Memphis last year, and Palante did this year. Palante started opening day roster, and then was here, got sent down here in May.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. So he's looked good, and these couple starts that he's made, I think have been really, really impressive. And so now I'm excited about trade deadline here in a couple of weeks, and kind of what happens, and who's dealt. Because like I said, I think Skubal is the big name that I'm keeping an eye on. But there are others out there. I think there's a handful of names. Guerrero's another one that I'll be real interested to see what those teams do with them.
The big reason why you go and get Guerrero. He's 25 years old.
Yeah,
25 years old.
That's it, and I would give that up. And we also know that those relievers, Helsley may go on and be, Bruce Sutter. He may go on and be Mariano Rivera, but sometimes it goes as fast as it arrived.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So I would definitely take Rivera. I didn't know he was only 25. That's crazy.
And how much he's been out of the strike zone lately.
Well, yeah, that's been
but overall
concerning.
Very effective.
Sure.
What do you think the White Sox would do with Luis Robert?
I think he's gone. I think they're trading everybody. I mean, I think everything's on the table, and I think he's a guy that I know not having a great year. He's having an okay year, but I think there will be plenty of teams out there that would like to add a bat like him to their lineup, and so I think he's gone very, very quickly.
Will you have to give up a lot for him?
Yeah, I think you'd have to give up a good deal. I don't think it's like, a ton, but I think it's a good amount to get him. He's been a great player.
If the Cardinals aren't going to give up a lot to get like a Guerrero deal, I would take George Springer. And I think he's being shot by Toronto.
Yeah.
And we know how effective. He may have one more really good October run in him.
Sure, and I think that's definitely a guy that I would take. And George Springer's been so good. And yeah, I mean, I think Toronto's another team, kind of obviously not as bad as the White Sox, but they're a team that, if you look at reports, if you look at what a lot of people are saying, insiders and things like that, seems like they're kind of open to anything, and it feels
they should be, because what have they won with this group?
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
And they've kind of been that potential team that potentially ends up getting a GM fired.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely could. I mean, you see I mean, it's been a lot of, these guys, you've got, Bo Bichette and Guerrero and, a really good roster, some good pitchers that they added to that roster. And, it was like, this team's going to be able to do it next year. And, this is the year. We've heard all of that these last 4 or 5 years and just not anywhere close to doing anything with this group.
Yeah, they've been next year's team for too many years.
Forever, it feels like. So, no, but I'm excited. I think there's going to be a good amount of movement this trade deadline, and I'm interested to see kind of where the Cardinals land in those talks and what they do at the deadline, because I think it's always kind of the waiting game when it comes to the Cardinals. What
did you think of how that played out last night with Arizona? With Bobby Witt going for the cycle in the last at bat?
Yeah, it is what it is. Honestly, at the end of the day,
you think it was just baseball?
Yeah, I think it's just baseball. I mean, I hate it for him, obviously, but I don't know what you do about it.
Yeah, a little rinky dink though.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. I really don't know how to feel about it, if I'm being completely honest.
If you were on the receiving end of it, you'd be irate.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
If you're Torey Lovullo in Arizona, you're going, that's baseball.
Yes.
Too bad.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things. I think there's a handful of things like that in Major League Baseball where it's kind of on that line of like, come on, and well,
baseball's always on that line, aren't they?
It feels like it, and when they're not on the line, Brett, they somehow find themselves on the
line. They create a new line.
Yes, they make it the line,
unwritten line.
That's right. There are so many unwritten rules. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but it's not my favorite thing, I guess.
And here comes Houston. They're having their push.
Yeah.
It took a while for them to push.
Yeah, no, and they've been playing really, really well, and you saw last night with Seattle, they lost to the Angels, and this team cannot hit the ball at all. Both teams with 4 hits, but ultimately the Angels made the most of their hits late in the game, and the Mariners didn't. And so I've not been sold on really either of these teams in the AL West all season long, but certainly have not been sold with the Mariners. I just don't think, pitching has been good. I don't think it's been what everyone expected this year. Bats have been terrible. And then you look at Houston, that's just played pretty poor most of the start of the season, and now are turning it around and playing much better, and now at the top of that division. I still think the Mariners can win it, but I'm curious to see what they do at the deadline.
We were told with the expanded playoffs that it would keep more teams, more cities, more franchises, more fan bases involved. When the National League, you're going to have 3 division winners, and you have a legitimate 6 teams going for 3 spots. We'll see if that really bumps up attendance. The Cardinals need a little attendance boost.
Sure, yeah. And
Atlanta really doesn't.
Yeah.
The Mets could use it. Pittsburgh sure could.
Yeah.
And San Diego and Arizona. I think the test cases here are Pittsburgh, San Diego, and Arizona. If that doesn't provide a boost, San Diego draws pretty well.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't provide the boost, then like a lot of things we're told, that's not really why they did it. They did it for TV rights, for more playoff games.
Oh, for sure.
They didn't do it to keep more teams involved.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, that's ultimately the answer. Is
like the 18 games
sure,
for the NFL.
Yes. I mean, and they can say whatever they want, and they're going to say everything but, more money equals us more happy.
And then in so many of those markets, Pittsburgh most notably, when you get to about a month from now, well, it's football season.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. And, I think Pittsburgh's definitely the obvious
Atlanta and
one.
St. Louis a little bit.
Yeah. And, so that's going to be an issue. And but it's going to be interesting because we've kind of talked about for the last month and a half of how close these races have been, especially with the wild card, and how long can it stay that close? And we're going to see how long it can stay close.
19,000 there last night in Pittsburgh. It didn't help last night.
No,
I know the whole Monday night thing.
Sure, but you can make an excuse for any night of the week in any game. But
do you miss Jordan Montgomery, who's going tonight 6-5? 6.44 ERA. Crushed me in the offseason when the Cardinals didn't get him back.
Yeah, no, I think it's weird. I think the two biggest guys, him being one, and Snell being the other, the two
not much to it.
Holdouts of wouldn't sign with any team, and
Mo knew Darian.
That's right. Yeah,
the one that comes to mind for me is Lance Lynn. I don't miss him.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, I don't miss Lance Lynn.
Well, the Cardinals have Lance Lynn. He's going tonight.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but you look at those two guys with same agent and waited so long into the
played the long game
and came back and it was like, oh man, look, Arizona got Montgomery, and then
remember when I thought we were getting them both?
Well, you did, and maybe we all had that thought, but
and got Lance Lynn instead.
Did. But you look at those two guys and they just have not been very good. San Francisco, Blake Snell struggled with them. Joe Montgomery's been up and down, but you look at that ERA and it's not great. So no, I don't.
Snell went last night, didn't he?
He did, and I did not get to catch much of that game, so I really don't know how he did. They lost to the Dodgers, and he gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, had 4 strikeouts in 6 innings. So not a terrible night.
That's pretty good for him lately.
Yeah, exactly. For him, that's a great game. Because
and this guy's fully rested.
Yeah, no, you're
after
you're
the break.
Right. No, you're right. So it's been a weird year for those guys, and were the big signings of free agency last year. But it will be fun to watch these games tonight, and then kind of keep up later this week and into next week. I think we're going to see a lot of news when it comes to the trade deadline. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving. Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not called Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
It's the season for fun, sun, and savings at the Volkswagen Sandy Summer Sales Event. Going on now at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, and I've got Jason, the main man Marshall, on the phone to give you the lowdown.
Randy, I've got the 2024 Taos SE, $299 a month, 36 miles per gallon on the highway. 2024 Atlas Peak Editions, $5,000 off or just 0.9% APR for 60 months. And the new 2024 Tiguan's, $3,000 off or just 1.9% APR for 60 months. And the list of savings goes on and on at Gossett Volkswagen on Covenant Pike. And remember, no reasonable offer will be refused.
Summer fun has begun. Ask for Jason, the main man Marshall, at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike, or online at GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
Fox Sports Radio's teamed up with Tire Rack this summer to give away a set of 4 tires every 2 weeks through August 25th. 3 lucky winners will each receive a set of 4 tires from Tire Rack, plus vehicle installation, taxes, and fees valued up to $1,500. To get all the info and official rules, visit foxsportsradio.com. Make sure to enter daily for your chance to win. Furnished by Tire Rack. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Jenkins Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Now back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, I think we did it yesterday, or maybe we didn't do it yesterday. We can do it again today, though, whenever we did it. I think you should go first today.
I'm ready. My big number is 31. That's the number of wins for Ryan Silverfield in his first 4 years as head coach of the Memphis Tigers. He's 31-18. That makes him already the fourth winningest Tigers coach ever. And 8 wins this year. He would pass Mike Norvell to go into third.
Whoa.
Tommy West second with 49. He's not catching him this year. And Coach Murphy at first with 81.
Holy cow. That's an incredible big number. Wow.
I thought so, too. The job that Ryan Silverfield has done, kind of just slow and steady and just doing the work.
Yeah, it absolutely has been.
It's remarkable.
No, it really is. And so I think everybody anticipating a big season for him and for this team this season. I should have gone first then because that's way better than mine because mine is just very simple. And I think we should just continue the excitement of this morning and seeing that preseason poll come out. So my big number is the number 1. Memphis picked first in the preseason AAC conference standings.
No, we're not going to do like Johnny and pit each other against each other on big numbers.
No.
Johnny loved doing that to us, didn't he?
He liked making us, and it made it competitive. We were working to try to get his approval of it.
Johnny was giving grades.
He was. He absolutely was. He was. I think a little more strict on mine than yours, but it's just personal.
Johnny goes to camp tomorrow with the Lions, doesn't he?
He does. So I know he's excited about that. I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he was really excited about camp starting. So we'll definitely have to get him on and talk some Lions soon because I know he's definitely excited about that.
I said it with Tim Buckley. I like your big number. I like everything I've heard today. I heard from the media that voted, that dubbed Memphis that, all the chattering class talking about him, and Ryan Silverfield saying, it doesn't matter. At the end is what matters.
That's right, man. That's the way you have to do it. And certainly, Ryan Silverfield, I think, he's been through a lot since taking over the head coaching job at Memphis. I mean, you had to go through COVID and the changing world of
the big shoes to fill after Mike Norvell.
And taking over for Mike Norvell. And, I tell it all the time. I mean, I remember a close loss against somebody. I don't remember now who it was. And I was down the field. I was helping out with production for the coaches show. And so I was down on the field, wrangling everybody. And Silverfield's walking towards the locker room, and there's a fan just, screaming at him and just everything under the sun after a loss. And so, he's kind of gone through a little bit of that. And we talked last year about, even a good season, people doubting Silverfield and questioning if he's the right man to be the head coach for the Tigers. And so, this year it's going to be a little different. There's pressure on you and there's expectations on you, but it's for you to have all of this success and be at the top of your conference rather than a reflection of struggles and not being what Mike Norvell or who Mike Norvell is. And so it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see this process of getting there. And now soon enough it'll be game time and we'll see all that work and all those expectations. See what they do with it on the field.
Brian, I know stereotypes are very, very dumb and very dangerous, but I'm going to hazard to stereotype and guess that fan screaming at Ryan Silverfield was also booing Brady White at halftime of the AAC championship game in 2019.
Was not around him, but I would say that probably checks out.
I'm going to lump him in.
Yeah, I would say probably definitely in that group. It's been crazy, but now
that fan also will be cheering like crazy this year.
100%.
That's fandom.
And that's the great
everywhere.
thing. Exactly. That's fandom, and it's a roller coaster. There are a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and a lot of people deal with them in very, very different ways. The other thing, and this isn't really a big number, but seeing the updates of and the continuing to watch the live feed of what's going on with Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium have been really cool. Darian, have you logged on and seen the live feeds since they started yesterday?
Uh-oh, let's get on. Yes.
They're really cool. I mean, it's cool to kind of watch that progress, and I need to, we're about to get to a break right now. I need to log on and see if they've made any more progress since when I saw
I'm like Stats, the
today.
press box is what I want to see come down.
Oh, yeah. Bring it all down. Tear it all down. But let's go ahead and wrap up our second hour and get to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a whole lot of NFL. Bo Marchant, he'll join us next. We'll also rank quarterbacks and head coaches AFC North this week. So stick with us. We're talking NFL next on Sports Time.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Progressive knows when you own a boat, life on land is a tough sell.
Come on down to the land, where you can do things like clean your gutters, pay tolls, and even get the wrong thing you ordered. We got it all. Potholes, people talking at the movies, and don't forget about flat tires when it's raining. It's land.
Life on a boat is way more relaxing. So customize your coverage with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. And relax, knowing you've got the coverage you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, #1 rating based on 2022 boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianellerroofing.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John.
Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Fergus's Rendezvous, in the alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown. And in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Good afternoon. Cleaning up
Sports 56 traffic.
this nasty looking wreck we had earlier, 55 northbound right at South Parkway as traffic builds coming out of Midtown on 240 South from, let's say, South Parkway all the way down to Norris. Still moving right now, 240 as you get onto 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Havenly Showers, your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub to curbless shower conversions. Log on to havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Bo Marchant joins us now to talk the NFL. He joins us every single Tuesday to talk the NFL. And now camps are opening up. It's starting to feel like football season. Next week we'll have the Hall of Fame game. So a lot of fun things going on. But Bo, I want to start off with, I've heard a lot of people today talking about Jordan Love. He is at training camp with the Packers, but he will not practice until he has a new contract. A lot of people have been debating and talking about what type of contract, what kind of money he can receive in this contract. When you look at Jordan Love, kind of a smaller sample size of most guys that we see when they get that next extension, what do you think a guy like that was so good last year, so productive last season, but not as many games in the book for him? What's a guy like that? What can he get on this contract extension?
I think he can get incredible money. I think he could be in the running to really, get all the cash that the Packers can give him. Put it that way. I think he can walk away from his next contract being a top 3, top 5 quarterback, paid maybe the highest, just in terms of the way these contracts go. It always seems like the latest guy gets the most money. So the way he played down the stretch for Green Bay, Brian Murphy and company and Gutekunst, all those guys in Green Bay, they looked a little foolish when they selected him. Aaron Rodgers was very upset, but nonetheless, the way Love has performed over the last half of last season, even in limited action, he doesn't have a lot of seasons under his belt because he was behind Rodgers, but he proved to be a worthy candidate of the first-round pick, and he's going to have a big payday. His hold-in, I think it just means it's the contract's on the horizon, and I don't think he would be there if things were sour. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a deal that we're going to be, talking about even as early as next week where these teams come to terms. But I do think it's going to be a humongous – listen, Daniel Jones got $40 million. So, just if you're going to – again, we joke around how many times, if you want to play and have a nice house in terms of quarterbacks, you're going to pay. So, I think in the upper range of 48 to 50.
Wow. Yeah, I'm with you. The Packers, They have to have a quarterback. Jordan loves that, and he's got them right where he wants them, and they're going to have to pay. Then he has to deliver, and I think he will. We're going to rank today AFC North quarterbacks and coaches. We'll do NFC North next week. A player that's really at the fork in the road in his career, that's Deshaun Watson. Through 2 seasons, he's played 11 games and a quarter for $92 million and 6 draft picks, including 3 number ones.
Yeah, I thought it was 8-3 or 8-4 as a starter in Cleveland. So it's not I love the move when they did it. I love the all-in approach the Browns took when they acquired Watson. At the time, I thought he was playing at an MVP level. Even one of the worst seasons for the Houston Texans, I thought he played incredibly well without DeAndre Hopkins, I should say. Listen, Kevin Stefanski, the coach last year, had a heck of a season getting that team to 11-6, earning a playoff spot
with Joe Flacco.
With Flacco, the line was gone. Chubb was. Everybody was hurt, and Stefanski was able. So maybe this is the thing. A lot of talent. They acquired Jerry Jeudy, who wasn't much in Denver, but nonetheless he brings some style points, if you will. Elijah Moore is there, and then they just gave the boost to Amari Cooper. Njoku's a good tight end, and they have a great running game. So I think if the stars align for Watson, and we haven't seen it yet, I still think he can be a top flight. I shouldn't say top flight guy because he's been, really so marred with injuries and nothing has worked out right in Cleveland. But the guy he was, if he can get anywhere close to that, I really think Cleveland has a high-powered quarterback that can kind of lead that offense behind Stefanski's guidance. So I hope he pans out. I just think, he has the talent. He had the talent, but it's really gone south. Well, you know what? I guess when he went north, his game went south. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sure appears to. Next week you will be in Canton on Thursday night. On Thursday night, August 1st, will be the Pro Football Hall of Fame game, and you'll be there like you are every year. A Cleveland Brown headed to the Hall of Fame someday, without any doubt, is Myles Garrett.
Oh, without a doubt. You're talking about a first ballot candidate there, and a guy like Myles Garrett. Cleveland, the record and Joe Thomas was a guy that everyone could kind of pin their hope on and just being a true competitor, a true Cleveland Brown, and Myles Garrett's kind of become that guy with Joe Thomas no longer there. So he's been phenomenal, just a freak of nature. And quick story, a close friend of ours, their daughter lives in Korea, and they went to Korea to visit their daughter, and she had her brown shirt on, and lo and behold, who did she see? None other than Myles Garrett, who approached her and said, "I cannot believe I have a Browns fan here in Korea." So just a quick Myles Garrett story. I just thought that was an incredible set of circumstances.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did not rehearse this, did we, Bo?
No, wow, that's crazy.
No, we did not. But it's just such a unique story that I'd be foolish not to share it. I think everyone listening would be like, wow, that's pretty incredible.
That is an incredible story. Another guy in this division that I think has a lot of questions. It's not about what he can do on the field. We've seen that, but it's the health standpoint, and that's Joe Burrow. He showed up to training camp today, new hairstyle, the buzz cut look for him going in. What do you think he looks like this year? What can he do for this offense if he can remain healthy, and what does this offense look like this season for the Bengals?
With Joe Burrow healthy and the crew that he has, it's lights out. With T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, Zach Moss replaces Joe Mixon, but nonetheless, it's a lights out offense. You're talking about two of the best caliber receivers, and in my mind, if Burrow is healthy, and this is the big question, this is the big, red flag on such a super talented kid is, I think, he's never played a full season, missed 10 games his rookie year, he missed 10 games last year, and in between, I think 17 games apiece. So he's or 16 games. So, he hasn't been there. And you have to be the guy to be the guy. And you have to be there, for the full duration, or if not, darn close to it. And that's been something he hasn't been able to do. But we know he has clearance. He's ready to go. He just has to stay healthy. I think, I can't say Patrick Mahomes is not the best, but if there's anybody, I think when they're healthy and they're doing their thing, I think Joe Burrow is the best, second best, and darn close to, above Josh Allen, Herbert, Jalen, Dak. love what Joe Burrow brings. I love his charisma. I love his character, the swagger he plays with. I really think, absent of Allen or maybe Mahomes, it seems like, because when Mahomes and Allen go at it, they are just some of the best games that we see between two teams and two quarterbacks that just play high-level football. And Burrow brings that same exact dynamic to the game right now. So if the Bengals and Burrow are healthy, I think they have every legitimate shot of winning a tough AFC North.
They have to protect him, and he's got to stay upright. If he's in there for all 17, then I think they are a playoff-bound team. Bo, today, speaking of 17, today the reports, they're everywhere of the NFL and the Players Association close to really getting down to the brass tacks of on the 18-game schedule. It won't be for next year. I think at the very earliest it would be the 26th season, but for sure 27. We've seen it come, and there's no stopping it.
Now, let's break the news now, Brett. There's going to be talks of a 21-game season in probably 2 years. So
I said earlier, I said a 20-game season in 2050. I won't be around for it. I wasn't around for the 12-game seasons. I won't be around for the 20.
Yeah, I won't be around for that either. So, yeah, it's only going to get better, and it does. Though I'm not lying when I see people talk about Major League Baseball. We're talking in the NBA, 82 games, 161 games. I mean, it's a whole different dynamic. Even hockey, people get burned out. As a person who
hockey's talking about shortening their season.
Yeah, they're all talking about what can we do? The NBA, it's too much, and even the NFL. We know we love it, but there is a point, and I really believe that you have to crave it. I love it, but there is a part of me, and maybe because I cover it and I have to work it. But Monday night, the stigma of the beautiful Monday night game. And I was just, that book I've been reading, they talked about when Monday night hit in the early 70s, it took the world, it took the league, it took America by storm. And they talked about how, Detroit auto workers were calling off on Tuesdays. And I think just you lose a little bit that when you have it on Monday night and Thursday night. And now, the way the holidays are, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. To me, I do think it's an overstimulation of the game. And listen, they're going to make money. It's not about, but I do think it just lessens the product, if you will. It's maybe a max commodity. You can make Model Ts at the Ford plant, or you can make Ferraris in Manila. And I think that's a little bit of the change that I'm seeing coming with the league.
I'm with you. I think less is more, but we can't ever do that because they see, they see huge potential. Bo Marchant with us talking the National Football League. He joins us every week. He's on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Bo, last week at SEC Media Days, I was visiting with Jimmy Nagy from the Senior Bowl, and I told him we have young, and he told me to tell you hello. He told me we're talking about the potential draft for players from the SEC. He said that it just Ole Miss. Now, over all the rounds, not first round, but he thinks there's 23 draft-eligible players at Ole Miss on that roster this year.
That's incredible. That's a staggering number. I mean, if that's the case, then, you're talking, even when Alabama or Miami Hurricanes were in their heyday, you're talking maybe, 7, 8, 9, 6.
He said 23, and he said there's a higher grade. This is a Senior Bowl person I'm talking about to people listening. It wasn't me. He said a higher grade on Ulysses Bentley than on Quinshawn Judkins.
Whoa.
Wow. Well, spring grades, the spring grades and then the fall grades are, nonetheless, that is and especially coming from Jim, you're talking about a dynamic scout, a guy who's just, he's brought the Senior Bowl to another level. I think they sold out the game last year. He's just modernized it. He's brought it to prime time. He's done everything possible. And, kudos to Jim. Again, just absolutely fantastic at what he does. He's an asset to the city of Mobile. And really, listen, it's a big-time event. And like I said, no hold bars. It's fantastic. And if he's going to say it, I can only say, you know what? I believe what he says because he has a pulse on what these college kids are doing like few others can.
Yeah. Bo, we've talked about Brandon Ayuk the last couple of weeks and kind of the situation going on with the 49ers. He's reportedly going to show up to camp for the 49ers even without a deal after requesting a trade. Does him being at camp mean anything to you when it comes to what could happen between him and that organization, I guess positively or negatively?
Yeah, well, now, is he going to camp? Because I thought he wasn't going to go to camp.
The reports today said
he's
Brandon
reporting.
Ayuk will report to camp.
He's reported? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's reported, that's a sign of good grace on his behalf, and it's hard to be there and then leave. So who knows how this works? And they signed both late, I think last year or the year before to a deal. So, who knows? It comes down to money. The Eagles were able to swing, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. They were able to get all those guys under contract. So I'm not saying it's out of this world to do, but, they also have a ton of money invested in McCaffrey and Samuel and Kittle, and they're going to have to break Brock Purdy. So that's the key. You can't have it all. And as we talk about NFL teams being able to keep more stuff when they have a quarterback that's young and they're, on that rookie deal. But the 49ers aren't going to be in that situation for much longer when Brock Purdy gets that step. So I just think it's a dollar and cents thing. But I think it's a good, if you're a Niners fan and you want Ayuk to be a Niner this season, I think it's a good thing that he's there. If he was holding out, like CeeDee Lamb, I heard he was not on the flight out. So who knows? It appears he's going to be a holdout. So who knows where that goes? But I think that when they're not there, that's where the aggravation begins. If Ayuk's there, though, at least if I'm Shanahan and Lynch, I'm sleeping a lot better at night knowing that he's there, he's at camp, and when you wake up and start going through team meetings and drills, he's going to be able to get acclimated to everything that the Niners want to do.
Bo, today, AFC North. Some people call it the AFC North. We call it the Bo Marchant Conference in the NFL. Right there where you are in Youngstown, Ohio, you're right in the thick of all this. And it's tough because you've got two Heisman Trophy winners. You've got two national champions, Heisman Trophy winners, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. National championship winners, Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson. And you got a Super Bowl winner in Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it's a tough. When I was looking at it today, I'm like, wow, it's really hard to, Tomlin and Harbaugh, and then Zach Taylor, got the Bengals to a Super Bowl. Stefanski did a great job with the Browns last season, and then the quarterbacks. You got Burrow and Jackson. That's basically flip a coin. I mean, you're talking two super talents. Russell Wilson, as you said, a Super Bowl winner, and then you have the potential of Deshaun Watson, who was an MVP caliber player at once. So. It's fun doing this each week because I think each division brings a different dynamic. Last week it was kind of like it was fun because it was bad. It was just, if anybody catches fire.
It was a fair fight.
Yeah, it's a fair fight, and this is a fair fight on the elite level, if you will. I think the NFC South is it's a legit fight because they're all kind of middle of the range. And I guess you could say that about the Browns and the Steelers right now. And I think if Burrow's healthy and Jackson's healthy, I do think the Ravens and Bengals are a little bit better than those two teams. But if Watson and Wilson play to a high level, then you really have a fight for that division. And usually, as always, the NFC North is a tough division. I mean, last year you had three teams, and it's this year it just seems like another year where you're going to be really looking at the division saying, wow, it's going to be tough, and whoever wins it knows that they achieved something very good.
And the coaches, you have two Super Bowl winning coaches. You have a coach that's been to the Super Bowl in Zach Taylor. The winner is Tomlin and Harbaugh. Zach Taylor's been there with Joe Burrow. And I think Kevin Stefanski's on his way to NFL coaching superstardom. He's already been good in that work last year. All right, Bo, you started with the quarterbacks in your division, the AFC North.
Joe Burrow, again, I think when he's on, he's just at an elite level. Lamar Jackson, just a little bit behind him. Another guy who just has to stay healthy as well. And then I have to go with Russell Wilson just because he's a Super Bowl winner. And I just think Arthur Smith and the systems in Cleveland or in Pittsburgh can get him over. And Watson has the most to prove, put it that way. He's the guy, as you mentioned, all the draft picks, all the money, but nothing to really show for it. So I think the most pressure is on Watson, absent of the other three quarterbacks, and he has a lot to prove going into this year.
Yeah, no, I like your list, and mine is very, very similar. I've got Deshaun Watson at 4, Russell Wilson at 3, and then I just think the top two are so close. I just love watching both those guys play. I flipped a coin to see which way I would go. Heads, Joe Burrow is 1. Tails, Lamar Jackson is number 1. It landed on tails, so at 2, I have Joe Burrow. Number 1, I have Lamar Jackson. But again, came down to a coin flip. That's how much I love both those quarterbacks.
Very, very much the opposite of last week when you could just throw them in a hat. And I said, I'm gonna pick that division winner out of a hat, and I really am. I'm going to go Lamar 1. The MVPs, the regular seasons, but he's going to be judged by postseason. That's just how it is. Joe Burrow narrowly behind him at 2. He's already had. Well, he's had more complete postseason, getting all the way to a Super Bowl. 3 for me, Deshaun Watson, because 4, I think if it's not over, it's close to over for Russell Wilson. So Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson for me. But this was tough. And if Russell Wilson has that comeback kind of year, and if he has any kind of year, he would be comeback player of the year.
Yeah,
that's a great point. So will Watson.
So could Watson. He could. Coaches, Bryant, you start.
Okay, I'll start at number 4. I've got Kevin Stefanski at 4. Number 3, Zach Taylor. 2, I have John Harbaugh. And then at number 1, I have maybe my favorite head coach in all of the National Football League, Mike Tomlin.
Bo, I'm with you on that, Bryant. And if he's not, John Harbaugh may be, and Jim Harbaugh may be my third favorite.
How about that?
And Kevin Stefanski, I almost said Ed Stefanski, his dad, and Kevin Stefanski's up there for me. Bo, you go.
Well, I got Stefanski 4, and it was hard. I didn't want to put anybody 4. Zach Taylor 3, Harbaugh 2, and then Tomlin 1. And just we'll be having our media dinner with him tomorrow. When you were able to sit down and talk to him. And I'm sure this was all coaches. If I had the luxury to talk to all the other 31 guys, I would probably walk away the same. But when you're in the room and a random name, just think of the most bizarre football player name, and these guys just retain everything, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, he had a great game against Ole Miss in 2018. I think he went, and you're just, how do you retain that? They all do it, but nonetheless, I got to go 1 with Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, one of the big-timers in the league, in the history of the league. He's 1 for me. Harbaugh's 2. I went Kevin Stefanski because I love the story. He was buds with his dad, Ed, when Ed was here with the Grizzlies. And Zach Taylor's been to a Super Bowl, but I think Zach Taylor could be on somewhat of a warmer seat than the other 3 in this division.
Well, I'll defend him, though. I mean, you had, Tanner Hudson and Jake Browning. He went 5-3 with those guys. And I just thought that was a lot, but Stefanski did it with Flacco and no line and no Chubb. So again, it was a hard division to really, Harbaugh and Tomlin are the long time, greats of that division right now. So you can't put the other 2, but I think Taylor and Stefanski have so much upside. But as you mentioned, Brett, if things go south for either one of those guys this year, they're both on the hot seat. I could see either one of those guys. If they're 6-11 or 6-12 or how many games they play now, if they're at that type of level at the end of the year, I don't think anyone gets a contract. I think they're both gone heading into the next season, especially with Vrabel and the likes of Belichick out there.
No dome stadiums in this division. It's all outdoors and for keeps, isn't it?
Oh, that's and they're talking about doming something in Cleveland, and I've had more arguments with people. And I know I'm wrong, because I'm old school, but it's and I told everybody, if it's the last thing, because Buffalo is building their new stadium, it's not going to be a dome. I will become a hardcore Buffalo Bills fan.
I love it. The less domes, the better. I can get behind that.
The grass is green and the blood's red in this division.
I love it.
That's absolutely right. Well, Brett, what division are we doing next week?
We're doing the NFC North
NFC
next
North,
week.
that's right. Yes. So,
and I can guarantee you, Jordan Love will be in camp this time next week.
Oh yes, yeah. I think that it will be very quick to get a contract for him. So that'll be fun next week. But Bo, as always, so much fun having you on and talking the NFL, and we'll do it again next week.
Yes, sir. Have a great week, though. Stay safe.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank you, Bo.
Bo Marchant joining us to talk the NFL like he does every single week. And, Brad, I'm like you. I think Jordan Love, I think it'll be very quick to get a contract for him. I think it's going to be a really impressive contract. And, yeah, by the time we're talking about him next week, next Tuesday, I think he'll have a contract and we'll be practicing.
I wish I'd asked, is Flacco in the league this year or did he retire?
Good question. I think he's.
I know he's not with the Browns.
No, he's not. He's not still with the Browns, so I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Or is he just sitting there waiting for that October call up?
That's right. And I'm sure he would get one. I don't know. It's a good question.
Indianapolis Colts.
How about that?
Backup. Yep.
All right. Colt Nation, stand up. Flacco time, I guess. You know, they could use
58-year-old Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. I mean, he might get it for getting play for the Forever Award. I mean, he might be around forever.
He's adding to Hall of Fame numbers potentially.
Is. No, he absolutely.
I don't think he's in, but you keep stacking.
I guess that's one way to look at it. You know, keep playing, keep adding yards to that number, and it only improves, I guess. But I am excited for all these camps to open, and seeing those clips and interviews and stuff from training camp.
Bo's heading to Latrobe tomorrow.
How about that? So that'll be a lot of
Latrobe
fun.
and then Canton. That's a good week.
Hard to believe Canton next Thursday. That's even like saying it earlier today when I was talking about we're gonna have Bo on later, and he'll be in Canton next week for the Hall of Fame game. I kind of stopped myself and was like, that's not next week. And I was like, no, it 100% is next week. It's
a week
really
from Thursday, August 1.
It's crazy. That'll be fun.
Very
I'm curious.
exciting.
And the question I asked Bo next week, how much does he play in the Hall of Fame game?
Here's the big question, though. How much do you play on the Hall of Fame game?
Well, Brett, and maybe this will answer your question.
I got it.
Look, this might answer your question, Brett. I have a parlay for Olympic soccer taking place tomorrow morning. So,
that's football.
I might, sure, it's a type of football. So that might answer your question on if I'll have any money on the Hall of Fame game next Thursday. I gotta write that down.
Did you see what the over and under is for next Thursday night?
No, I haven't.
Care to guess?
I can't even take a guess. What is it?
32.5.
Holy cow. Wow.
That's much less than any UFL game.
It absolutely is. I mean, what UFL was
high 30s, low 40s.
Low 40s, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be fun. We got to ask Alan on Friday to give us a Hall of Fame game.
Break it down.
Yeah, I need that from Alan more than I need anything else. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Listen up, I got Marty McNade on the line at Gossett Volkswagen, Germantown. Hey, McNade, how far back you moving on prices?
Way back, Randy. Doc told me you can take your pick. 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport. Gotta go back in time to the good old days at $275 a month.
Great Scott, McNade. Gossett Volkswagen on Germantown is really moving prices back.
That's right, Randy.
And I hear you got the 2024 Atlas Peak Editions going for $5,000 off MSRP, or you can get 1.9 for 60 months.
That's right, Randy. Your future's whatever you make of it, so let's get to Gossett Volkswagen, Germantown.
Ask for Marty to find out how much he can move you back on price. Hey, Marty, hit us with that Gossett Volkswagen locator.
7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com.
Sportstime is for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something beyond this. Genesis Vice President David Cooper, the craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is bar none anything else. Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from the over 4,000 brands to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly custom craft you literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream. Things that other stores may call new, we've been doing for 3, 4, and 5 years already. So don't settle for a medium style design. You deserve. I'm David Cooper, and I'm excited to see you show. It's extended.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea, and water damage as far as the eye can see. It's freshly mown grass, and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens. It's also round-the-clock protection when you run your home or auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, States.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wallow said hello.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Darian Newsom producing for us. We're Sports Time. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show, and I got to talk about what's trending. And I just saw this during the break, so I wanted to bring it up. On 3, which I think a lot of people have heard of On 3 by now, but basically same thing as 247 and Rival, just another avenue created by a lot of the guys. And
Shannon Terry did it again,
of course, and a lot of the guys that work over there, and are people from 247 and Rivals, and they do a great job over there at On 3. But they posted, On 3 NIL posted, NIL Whispers. Memphis quarterback commit Antoine Hill is the latest to sign a trading card deal with Leaf. Leaf is kind of a smaller trading card company. The 4-star recruit and top 250 prospects deal is between $600,000 and $750,000. On 3 Sports has learned he's repped by Peterson Sports. So good for Antoine Hill.
Real good.
Getting after it and getting a little bit of a trading card deal before he steps foot on campus at Memphis.
And that's the way it is now.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
We're not going back.
No. We're not going back. We're just going to go forward, and you're going to see more things like this come up. And so, for Antoine Hill, I tried to look.
You must embrace it.
You've got to. And I was looking at their website, and it's a lot of guys that are either in college or just got drafted to the pros and had their deal while they were in college, and then guys that are in high school getting ready to go to college. And so, I saw a couple other highly rated quarterback commits and stuff like that. So, I think a great deal for Antoine Hill.
I did a show last week, Bryant, and it was not mean-spirited whatsoever.
Okay.
In fact, the host almost sounded like Brent did about Coach Monty Kiffin and about Lane's comments.
Sure.
But to be funny, when I came on, the kind of the cash register sounder from who was the the song in the 70s with this. I can't think of the band, but anyway, and you hear it clanging, and it very much a cash register sound. Golly, who was the band? Anyway, and everybody laughed when he played it, and I laughed, and he talked about that's how that's how Ole Miss and Lane's gotten good, and I laughed. I said, very clever you using that, but you know it's all legal, don't you?
Yeah. First off, you're absolutely right. That's how he got it, and it's legal.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And so many people talking about well, if Ole Miss can do it or this one can do it, we do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Go out and do it, and join the club. You're right, and I want to go back to something you brought up with Bo about your conversation with Jim Nagy, the Senior Bowl, head of the Senior Bowl. How many guys did he say he thinks could be
23?
23
could potentially be drafted. That might that might be 4 in the 7th round.
Sure.
Divvy it up 7 into 23. That might be about how it's appropriated. But he thinks Jackson Dart can go real high. Really wants him badly in that game. And then the Ulysses Bentley comment about compared to Quinshon Judkins, and I respectfully disagree. Sure. But he's talking about what NFL grades are.
Yeah, and it's different. I mean, the NFL is looking for different things, and yeah, that's definitely interesting. Something else, our friend Max Chadwick, who we have on a lot, he was on, he's doing the rounds. Good for him. I saw
he was on Paul Feinbaum
today. You told me that, and then I saw his quote later this afternoon about Ole Miss, and he compared the team they have going into this season, he compared to last year's Florida State team, which, I mean, should have been in the college football playoff, would have been in the college football playoff.
Fifth looks pretty good this year.
It looks great this year. And a team that would have been in that top 4 if their quarterback hadn't gotten injured. So I definitely think a lot of excitement right now for this Ole Miss team.
Brian, I think we targeted and we figured out that this was going to be a highly anticipated year for Memphis and Ole Miss, a big local angle. I think we were on to it really, really early. Now, everybody's there. That's fine. Yeah. Everybody join in, and the fun in this run up, and I think it will go down as one of the more fun hype time of the year for college football. Is it's not just us driving it locally.
That's right.
It's not us at all. It's everybody doing it. I mean, there's no need for Jim Nagy to say that to anybody unless he believes it.
Not at all.
There's no Max Chadwick, and I think he's catching it pretty good.
Sure.
In some of his replies, I even think Paul Feinbaum disagreed, but that's where you are.
Yeah.
Now you have to go do it. Like Ryan Superfield said this morning, it's really meaningless. And when we get Ralph Russo and the AP has that Sunday or Monday afternoon first AP release, and I'm going to guess that's about the 19th or 20th, it'll only be conversation piece.
That's
and,
right.
and by that point, you're really getting close to the season starting, and then you got to go out there and do it every week.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, it all ultimately comes down to what happens on the field and what happens
it does.
in those games.
Not to bring up a sore subject, but we were proud of when Tiger basketball when they got to that ranking.
Yeah,
and then we saw what happened.
Yeah, it changed.
It could happen to some of these summertime hype teams.
You're right, and so it definitely could happen, and it will happen. There will be a team out there that's getting a lot of summer hype that is not going to live up to those expectations and that are going to have kind of a dud of a season.
But you got to have a real dud compared to the hype, not to make the 12.
That's right. Yeah, it's a lot different this year with it being 12 teams. A dud can probably keep you in that 12-team playoff.
A dud would knock you from Orange Bowl to Gator Bowl.
That's right. Maybe a little different this year, which will be nice for some teams. I saw earlier. I don't know where I saw this, maybe on Twitter or something, but they did a Group of 5 survey over at The Athletic, and it was The Athletic conducted an annual Group of 5 reader survey, and so this is like readers of The Athletic that voted on this, I believe, and Memphis was the highest voted team to represent the Group of 5 in the college football playoffs at 16.3%. of the votes received. So it seems nationally that a lot of people think the Tigers could have what it takes to get into that 12-team playoff this year.
Another common denominator both Ole Miss and the Tigers will have going into this year. Neither one can play the lack of respect card.
Right.
Now, the Tigers can and I think should later in the year. You have that 13-0 Memphis. People are going to have a fit if they're only a 9 or 10 seed or in double digits. They should and they will, and I'll probably be right there defending. I think I got to see who's right in front of them, but that sets up the very real prospect of 8 versus 9, and I don't really know who would be home field advantage.
Yeah.
Memphis and Ole Miss.
That would be fun.
It's not just 5-12.
That's right. That you're
That's
absolutely
probably
right.
more likely.
Sure. But if it can get hashed out anyway to be Memphis and Ole Miss in the college football playoffs, that'd be crazy. That'd be wild.
And I would hope that would be the Friday night game kicking things off that weekend. Remember, there's going to be one on Friday and then 3 on Saturday.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
The whole world will be watching.
Oh man, absolutely, definitely. So that would be a ton of fun. But it's been,
wouldn't that be bragging rights all time for the Tigers if they won that game? Never mind the all-time record. Never mind some of the indignities of the past and the losses of the past. Wouldn't that be walk-off all-time bragging rights?
Yeah, it definitely would be. Because the hype that both these teams have coming in, and first year of the 12-team college football playoff, this team that Ole Miss has have brought all these guys back, one more run at it, and you knock them out in the playoffs. Oh yeah, that would.
Now they didn't in 2019. That win in 2019 on opening day by Mike Norvell with Brady White at quarterback. That wasn't just wrecking the other side season. It set the Tigers up for the most historic season to date in Tigers football history that ended up ultimately in the Cotton Bowl. But that kind of a win in the playoffs, that wouldn't be, yay, we wrecked your season. That would be the all-time wrecking ball.
Oh, yeah. No, that would go a long way. For sure, and that would.
And then on the other side, if Ole Miss won, you advance in the bracket.
Exactly,
That's the whole object.
Exactly, and that would be huge as well. One other thing I wanted to get to before we got to a break here in this segment, we talked a lot yesterday. We had the exhibition game going on with USA and Germany. We kind of talked about the teams and obviously the men's team now done with all the exhibitions, getting ready to go to Paris. Women's team, they wrapped up today with an exhibition against Germany, and they'll get ready to head over to Paris with the rest of them. But we talked about Kevin Durant hasn't played in an exhibition game. Now reports coming out this morning that it is unlikely he will be able to go in the team's first game of Paris, but the staff still feels confident that he at some point will be able to play and be able to make an impact with Team USA. What do you make of the decision? An injured Kevin Durant, not sure when or if he'll be able to go, keep him around and take him to Paris?
I'm worried, but this team shouldn't be, even losing Kevin Durant, it should not derail any gold medal hopes.
No.
And I don't even want it to start being a softer excuse. I said yesterday, no freak out factor for me unless and until they're not on the gold medal stand.
That's right. Yeah. No, that changes a lot of things. If you get to that point, then there's freak out. But no.
And when they get to the goal, if they win the gold medal, I don't care about margin.
Right.
Maybe those days are over of beating somebody by 82.
Sure. Maybe that you could definitely be onto something there. But I think that we could see if Kevin Durant's not able to play and something happens with this team. I would not be surprised if we heard that of, Kevin Durant didn't play. If Kevin Durant played, then they would definitely win.
You've got 11 more that everybody else would take them first.
100%. So I don't think this comes down to Kevin Durant and his availability. But I hope he can play. I love watching Kevin Durant play. I do think he makes this team better. So I hope we're able to see him.
And so Friday, when we do the sports we've participated
That's
in
right.
and the 2028 team, also have your coach for 2028 for U.S. Olympic team.
That's going to be a lot tougher. Okay, that's going to be fun. I need to start getting on that now and kind of getting a short list together of coaches for 2028. Like I'm the one deciding on it. So that'll be fun. Friday afternoon, all the sports we've participated in, 2028 Olympic men's basketball team, and who their head coach is. I'm definitely excited for Friday. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Looking for a way to elevate your engine's performance? Start with Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. It provides faster oil flow for hot and cold temperature protection in the harshest driving conditions. Regular use can help your engine run cleaner and longer by defending against sludge and buildup, improving overall engine performance and fuel efficiency while increasing the time between oil changes. Make the switch without slowing down. Feed your ride Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea, and water damage as far as the eye can see. It's freshly mown grass and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens. It's also round-the-clock protection and new one-year home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Progressive.com. Progressive is the future. It's never changed.
Are you ready to ride? Well, we Gossett covered it. Gossett Kia on the bike. Get 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $37.99 to assign it. 2024 Kia Sportage, $279 a month, $34.99 to assign it. Or how about a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite with 0% APR available for 48 months? Or get 304 EPA estimated range for $389 a month, $49.99 to assigning. All 24-month lease. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike online. KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
650 acquisition fee, $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE 794,066, MSRP 21,820. Sportage R73 161.97, MSRP 28,865. EV9 R60 29,603, MSRP 61,035. Includes all rebates and incentives and PF 695. Includes tax, title, license, registration, and fees. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit valid through 7/31/24. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
this is pretty cool, and we're just getting started. So.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, high school.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, it was a pretty good day for Memphis football, really from start to finish. You get the polls that I think we all knew was going to be favorable for the Tigers, but you officially get it this morning. They're in first place. They get the most votes to win it by a wide margin. And then throughout the day, we hear Ryan Silverfield speak. I think you came away extremely pleased with what you heard Ryan Silverfield say, what you heard those players say, and then you hear about your future quarterback, Antoine Hill Jr., who gets a nice NIL partnership with a trading card company. And then just watching all of the updates at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, they still have the live feed going up there. I just looked, and I mean, we've pretty much knocked out a whole section right now. It's really cool and weird to watch and see.
Have you sat in those sections that are knocked out?
Oh, yes, I have.
I have too.
I absolutely have. Last season, actually. But
1990 Ole Miss Tennessee regular season game played there. I sat in the section was kind of gone first.
Yes, how about that? So it's just been a really fun day from start to finish, and really just kind of highlights the good things that are to come for Tiger football.
Sure. What I learned today, I thought it was a really good day for AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti. And he spoke the truth this morning in Arlington when he said there's not a commissioner in the country that can be too comfortable. Even the SEC, the A&M to the Big Ten talk won't go away.
No, it won't. And you're right. I mean, it just feels like an extremely tough job.
Everybody's listening.
Everybody.
Make me an offer.
That's right. And
players, coaches, administrators.
Mm-hmm. And you know, he spoke again about, you know, conference realignment and how, like, it's something that happens. And, you know, you just as a conference have to trust those members to be able to talk about it with them. And so I really like him. I think he's done a great job.
I thought a good 2 days for the AAC. Mm-hmm. Look, for right now, it's the best the Tigers can do.
That's right.
Do you want to get out? Yes, but for right now, at least make this good and be at the top of it.
That's right. No, you're definitely right about that. What I could have done without today, probably injury front on a couple different things. The update for Kevin Durant, I do not like to hear. I almost think this means bigger issues when it comes to Kevin Durant, because I think if it's something that's, you know, just a minor injury, I think we would have waited till day of the game, day before the game, to kind of let those rumors out.
They're finessing us.
It feels like it. It feels like this might be a bigger issue, so that definitely worries me going into Paris. But like you said, Brett, the Team USA's success or failure or anything should not come down to the health and availability of one player. Even though Kevin Durant's a great player, you mentioned it. This whole roster, pretty much every team, every other country that has a team participating in the Olympics would take this roster over their own. So I don't think you should feel too worried about it, but I would definitely rather have Kevin Durant. Also, just saw this, Mariners are going to be without their guy, Julio Rodriguez. He is on the 10-day DL for a team, you know, he hasn't had the greatest season, but for a team that can't hit the ball, that's really struggling at the plate, you do not want any of your bats to go down and have to rely on that bench or call up guys from AAA. So it'll be interesting to see, after losing to the Angels last night, what the Mariners do tonight with a couple guys out with injuries.
I could have done without Army getting first place votes in the AAC vote. I love Surface Academy football, and it wasn't near as dumb as the two people that voted for Vandy at SEC Media Days. I don't know if anything tops that. but they're not winning the AAC, and we don't want them to for a lot of reasons.
A lot of reasons. Mainly.
Including the big rivalry game the next week.
Maybe, call me a sicko, but maybe after this year, maybe after next year, maybe after Memphis leaves for another conference, I want to see Army and Navy
chaos
win. I want them to be 1-2 and have to play. And then
I wasn't wild about Army in the league.
What happened, Brett? I am not either. Still not. Wasn't when it happened. But I guess we're here and we've got to deal with it now. Where are you beaming tonight?
Keep me in Pittsburgh for Cardinals versus Pirates. Great game last night. Buccos were better and got the 2-1 win. Only 19,000 there tonight. It'll be a lot bigger crowd for Ole Miss versus LSU. Lance Lynn versus Paul Skeens.
A little SEC action. Top of the second. Still nothing. As Pirates have one hit. Paul Skeens has not given up a hit through. I guess just one inning because he has not recorded out in the top of the second. Beam me tonight. Let's see where we're going to go. I will go to the game later this evening. White Sox and Rangers. Call me crazy, but I do like that pitching matchup and could be an interesting game. Garrett Crochet could be
Crochet's last game with
you're absolutely
Southsiders.
Right. Last time we see him with the White Sox.
He's in every potential deal.
He is everywhere. But Brett, beam me after that one to Paris tomorrow morning for Olympic action. Who needs opening ceremonies
when
you have all of these sports? Tomorrow morning, Argentina versus Morocco, Uzbekistan, and Spain. They'll get us kicked off bright and early.
How early you got to get up?
8 a.m. So not too
bad.
That's
well, now for Brian,
for
that's
me,
tough.
that's very tough. But we will make it work, and we will be up to watch. Like I said, I have a parlay with both those games. So,
we enter baseball tonight. 19 of 30 teams enter tonight's action.
Wow.
1 under 500 or better. Tightly compacted wild card races. Mets and Yankees in the Bronx. Rays and Jays. Reds in Atlanta. And Giants at Dodger Stadium late against the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good night of baseball tonight. Some fun action last night. I think it will carry over into tonight as well. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea, and water damage as far as the eye can see. It's freshly mown grass, and a fence that was freshly vandalized by immaculate unruly teams. It's also round-the-clock protection when you run your home or auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and United States.
Stop what you're doing and listen to this. Your God-given freedoms are up for the taking, and those doing the taking are the same people who've sworn to defend your freedom. They think they can control the media, hide the truth, and force their delusions onto your family. You know what they can't take away? Self-reliance, peace of mind,